Oh, there we go. Hello, friends. You guys know I'm like specially challenged here, so it doesn't surprise me that I had to do that. But anyway, welcome back to stream today. So I'm doing VR again. This is actually my first time trying it with full body. So I know you can't tell right now, but I'm gonna move around a little bit, just making sure some of the settings are good, so that the viewer experience is wonderful for all of you. Of course, I would do that. But anyway, it's been a long time coming. I know I've been teasing this for like a year now, but we're finally here. My slimes finally came in. They took literally forever. Keep in mind though, when I got it, it was like the fast. This was moving quickly, right? Usually when people get it, it's like they order it forever ago, and it takes some time. It takes some time. So okay, let me mess around with this setting here. There's like a follow me setting that I kind of like, but sometimes I feel like it does a little too much. But anyway, I think this is decent. So if I back up a little bit here, you can like see me moving around more. Alright? Got the whole leg action going. Yeah? I know. And then I have a lot of like calibration things I have to do pretty regularly, which, yeah, that's kind of annoying, but you get the idea. Yeah, so kind of like that. Though, I mean, again, it wouldn't be a me stream if it wasn't like super scuffed anyway. But we're learning, and that's part of the joy of it. Let me see if I can get the camera to come back over here. Okay, that's closer. That's pretty close. I grab it. Yeah, I have to like force pull the camera here. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. I like having full body. I didn't think I was going to really care that much about it, but now that I have it, it's quite different than what I expected. You know what I mean? Okay, hold on. Now I'm getting like axed by meta. Okay, if there's anything I would change, it would be meta as a program. What's going on with this? Why is it like this? It's trying to create a new boundary for me, which makes no sense because I have it set to room scale right now. So for those of you that don't know, there's like the boundary of this is exactly where you're standing, and then there's like, oh, the entire room is under the VR cloud, I guess you could say. Or the metaverse influence, right? Oh, yeah. But, we'll see. If it gives me crap, then I'll probably, like, end up just going into settings and fixing stuff and the whole 9 yards. But for now, we seem to be pretty decent. So, anyway, if there's any questions you have for me and, like, how to set up full body with slimes, I'd be happy to help. I had a lot of people like help me because this stuff, there's like no guide for this stuff, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of a lot to be learning, especially for the first time. But once you get there, you get there. So I am quite satisfied with it. Though I will say there is a lot of technology advancement that I'd be very, very happy to wait for. But okay, yeah. Here we are. We're in this world with like a bunch of sheep. They're all staring at me. We can like throw them around and stuff, but maybe we should go somewhere more quiet. Especially somewhere that the time of day doesn't change so frequently. Time of day here changes quite a bit. I actually had another world open, and then I was like, nah, this one's fine. And I'm like, you know what? Nah, never mind. Let's go back. Plus, that'll give me a chance to do a quick calibration anyway. But again, if I have to do the meta thing, I'm just gonna like step out real quick, and then we'll be back. Even though we just started, what a shame, what a shame. Okay, next, yep. Obviously, if you are in the VRChat group that we have for streams, you can feel free to join. I don't really have any like grandiose plans today other than just talking to you guys and just talking about my experience with full body and how I feel about it so far. So Nothing too major, nothing too major. Though, I'm sure there are like different games that we could try if we get enough people, right? Okay. Yes, the joy of loading screens. I like how it loads for you guys before it loads for me. That's pretty crazy. Okay. This world's a little bit more quiet, but it's a nice world, right? This is like a meta world I usually come to sometimes. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I sometimes forget to unmute in the game, as it were. But yeah, you know, we're doing the thing, we're moving. I have legs and hips now. And high heels for some reason. I don't know. I just figured I'd wear them today. Obviously I can change, right? At any time. But okay. Let's see. I want to not set it to fly anymore. Well, I guess it can still fly, but it doesn't have to be through there. Okay, there we go. Now we can move out. Oh, it didn't follow me. Hold on. Okay, you know what? The look at me option ain't too bad, now that I think about it. We'll do local. There we go. I guess default first, then local. Yeah, this is much better. Easy, easy. I'm getting it. I got this. Whew, okay. But yeah, what should I say? What to say? I mean, there's so many things like that I liked about it. There's like a very small amount of things that I would say like, okay, that was really annoying. I don't want to see that happen again, but it's rare. So one thing that's interesting, I mean, this is more of a common sense thing for those of you that have already done this like rodeo before, but I feel like for those of us that haven't, okay, you can't use GoGo anymore, by the way. Once you're in full body tracking, the only thing that works on GoGo is the AFK animation, which I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, it was surprising to me at first, but then it, like, the math does math, you know? Because I was like, wait, what? What do you mean I can't use GoGo? I've grown so accustomed to using GoGo, like, my entire life. Like, not using GoGo is crazy. But one thing I do think is really funny, a lot of people, a lot of my friends in VR actually were like, oh, you don't have full body? We didn't know. We had no idea. And I'm like, am I doing that good of a job with GoGo that people just didn't know? Like, I don't know whether I should be proud or like mildly disappointed that people didn't notice. Because what I would do is I'd ask people a really silly question. I'd be like, hey, what do you feel like? What do you think? Do I have anything new about me today? That's what I would ask them. And a lot of them would be like, what do you mean? I don't understand the question. I'm like, huh, okay. Maybe I am doing decent enough that people really can't tell. Oh. Okay, hold on a second there. It's like lag spikes. Okay, there we go. No more lag spikes. At least that's the hope. But yeah, people genuinely didn't realize it. And I'm like, what? So on one hand, I was happy about it. On the other hand, I'm like, okay. It is kind of silly that no one's able to tell. But you know what? If I'm doing that good of a job with GoGo and nobody can tell, that's great. That's fantastic. Like, I'm all for it, right? But the other thing is, I know I've been saying this a lot, but now that I have full body, like, I'm actually gonna do it. So we need to come up with redeems because when I'm in VR, there's like no redeems you're really able to use other than hydrate. But you know, I mean, I guess I can do like little dances and stuff now, but it would depend, right? At least what you guys want to see. Obviously, you can't be asking for like nothing crazy. Like, don't go insane, okay? Like this, it's not that kind of show here. But you get the point. It's something to think about. I feel like changing the skirt's being a bit messy right now. Like it keeps coming up anytime I put my hands down. But this is just how I move my hands, you know? So, oh, okay, there we go. But yeah, so it's something to think about for sure. It's definitely something to think about. Nandayo. There we go. I guess the camera is not the thing that needs to be moved. It is I that needs to be moved. Yeah, and this is what I mean. Like, I have these minor tracking mishaps that, like, still getting very used to, right? Granted, I guess right now the game is trying to figure out if it's slime that needs adjusting or if it's VRChat that needs adjusting. Like, that's been the rodeo with trying to figure this out. I'm done. Something just alerted me, but I have no idea what it was. Is it a battery thing? Might have been a battery thing. Calibrating battery, yeah. Again, there's a lot to learn with this stuff. But we are trying, and that's the important thing. I'm getting there. It'll take time, but, you know, cut me some slack and all that. Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can fix the camera back. One of these days, I'm gonna have a proper photographer. It's gonna be crazy. I don't even think you can do that, because you'd have to stream from, like, someone else's view, right? That'd be probably way too messy, but... yeah. So, I've also spent a lot of time in Unity and Blender and just learning how to, you know, look the way I do, and just about everything else. For those of you who don't know, this look is closer to my Final Fantasy character. You know, that's used to, basically I used to play that game, like, every single day. Lately it hadn't been as much, but, you know, it's, I am trying to be a little bit better about it, you know what I mean? Like, it's fine, but it happens, so, hey. Once I'm a little bit better about it, then you'll know. I'll have, like, all the different things going on, you know, I'll be playing the content more. I thought I was going to stream that today, but it just wasn't in the cards, you know? And then I'm like, oh, well, you know what? I figured out full body. I might as well go ahead and, like, show that off to you guys first. Since it's been, like, such a long time. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me, okay? Forgive me. It took time, but we're here. We're here now. In 4K even, right? It's fine. Like, you'll forgive me. Surely. But, I've been thinking about doing a lot of stuff. So, like... I know a lot of streamers that I see on VR, they usually have, like, community nights and stuff like that. And I'm like, that would be cool. That would be cool. I don't know if I'd, like, with the busy schedule I have right now, I don't know if I'd be able to run them myself, but, you know, it's what I do want to do. And obviously there's, like, the YouTube video story times. Those have been doing really well, but I have a bone to pick with all of you, actually. Because there's something very, very wrong, okay? I checked my YouTube, so you know how, like, all the VODs are going up and stuff like that. I checked YouTube recently, and I noticed something that was off. For some reason, all of these people that have never seen my channel, including those of you who have been watching, have, like, been watching this Prey stream from, like, ages ago. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you all watching that stream? Why is everybody watching Prey? You all should know how much I can't stand that game. Like, yes, it's objectively an amazing game for what it is, but it's also a very evil game. Okay? It doesn't treat me right, and for some reason, all of you are watching that, and that's almost getting more views than, like, the actual videos I've been making. And I'm like, okay, I know the VODs are going to be kind of to most people, but I'm like, for that to have been so popular, and y'all are watching that so much, I'm like, no way. There's just no freaking way. There's just no freaking way. Why is this so popular? Who's watching this? And I get it. I only stream Prey, like, every blue moon, right? Like, it's not very often at all because, well, I care about my sanity, right? Like, is that so bad? Am I not allowed to care about my sanity even a little bit? And yeah, I'm sure some of you are wondering, like, oh, what's this Prey game? So anyway, just so you get an idea of why I find it mildly annoying that everybody loves that one video, or that VOD specifically. Prey is like this game that it's a horror game technically, but Prey feeds off of anxiety. Okay, what Prey likes to see that, okay, I make my player anxious by putting them in situations they don't want to be in, right? So like, not to spoil it, not that I know everything about it anyway, a lot of the game is like discovering the story itself, but like, the whole gist of Prey is, okay, you have this alien ship that you're on, and you're supposed to like navigate it, but there are these things called mimics, which I think some of you already know where this is going, okay? The mimics can be literally anything on the ship. And when I say anything, I mean like anything. So for example, the mimics in the ship so far, they were like, how can I put this so I can like truly express my disappointment? So far, the mimics on the ship are kind of like, oh, well, here's this thing, here's a cup, here's like a table, right? The mimic can be any one of those things. And I get annoyed because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hope that thing right there is not the mimic. And then there are other things where I'm like, okay, there's no way that isn't the mimic. So I'll be pointing like a gun specifically at this like table. And I'm like, yeah, this table is about to get blasted away. I know it's the mimic. I'm gonna shoot at it, and like right before I shoot, something jumps in my face, and then you realize it was the coffee mug all along. And I'm like, bruh, no. This game is not good for me. It's not. It's doing way too much on the anxiety scale. It's like, I think I know what I'm dealing with, and then I don't. And it's too much. It's too much for the heart, okay? The heart can only take so much. And that right there, that's not legal. The heart shouldn't be getting put through that at all. Like, it's bad. It's bad. So it's like, I say it's a bad game because its goal is to make me suffer. However, as far as like how it plays, how it functions, the storyline, everything about it has been objectively good. And this is why I can't stand it. It's like, you can't be a good game and then also traumatize me. Like, this is not fair. This is not fair. This is not how I wanted to live my life. I did not agree to this, right? Actually insane. Actually insane. Poof. There goes my tail and everything. And my normal hairstyle y'all are used to. Though I guess I could try this one too. A little short bun. It's nice. It's cute. But yeah, I don't appreciate the person that purchased that game for me, knowing that I struggle with things like this. Why did they do it? It's a great question. Wish I had the answer. I mean, the obvious answer is they hate me, right? Like that. Like there's no other answer, realistically speaking. They hate my guts. It makes sense, you know. Everybody knows that, right? Okay, sure. You know, I get it. The butterflies and everything. Well, yeah, it's like, okay, they can't stand me, and this is the way they decided that I was gonna suffer. So, sure. I completely get that. There's lots of like little butterflies in different colors. They're all not the same. I don't even know if they're like picking up on the stream that well, but sometimes they pass by. If you like are curious as to why I do this. But yeah, so I was shocked to see that, genuinely. I was actually shocked to see that. And I'm like, okay. Somebody was telling me I need to do another Prey stream. I think this would be like the third one if I actually go ahead and do it. Maybe next week, but like, why can't people enjoy me being happy doing things? Why do you have to want suffering? Suffering is just like, it's too much, you know? It's a lot of work to deal with, you know, emotional traumas and all that fun stuff. Like, it's just doing a lot. But okay, fine, I get it, you know. I'll give it another chance. Maybe like my mental fortitude now. Maybe I'm like built like a tank, right? Like I got this. I can handle it. There's a lot of things that are very new that I'm like, okay, I can handle this. This one, not so much maybe. But you know, I've been through a lot. I feel like in the past month-ish or so. I know some of you have been keeping up with it, so I'll give you a little bit of taste. Okay. If you don't know, that's fine. You don't really need to know. It's not hyper important. You know, things that go down here in anime world, they're very different from out there. You know, the graphics out there are kind of different. Apparently, something must have happened to your GPU. You know, like the entire world apparently is on fire. I wonder how that happened. You guys might want to fix that. But yeah, here in anime world, we don't have to worry about problems like that. You know, all that stuff. Nah, it doesn't go down. It doesn't go down. The worst it's ever gotten for us were those Titan things. You know, like they've been dealt with. Jaeger's gone. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. But anywho, so some of you know, I've been trying to get a new position for like the last few months. I feel like I'm very, very close, which is cool. I've been getting like lots of recommendation letters. Now, for those of you that want it, because I'm like so well versed in it now, if you want help with like resumes and interviews and like how to do these kind of things, I could make a video on it, or you know, I could just have a stream where I talk about those different things. It doesn't matter to me either way, but I figure some of you might be interested in me passing like the knowledge of the Holy Grail. How do you do these things in the modern day? Because I feel like it's changed a lot in the last decade. Like, I feel like I was telling my best friend this not too long ago, right? So interviews back in the day were kind of like, hey, what's your special talent, kid? Tell me what you can do. And you're like, oh man, I can push the carts, I can stock the shelves, I got it all. Like I'm here and then I'm there. It's everywhere. Now it's like they sit you down, they pour you a cup of tea, offer a glass of water, and they're like, hey, let's get to know you. Who are you? Tell me about yourself. And I'm like, I don't know. Something seems kind of fishy here, but they're 100% doing what you think. They're 100% doing what you think. They want to get to know you because they want to see if like you're gonna slip up and tell them something crazy. Like you tell them some wild story, and they're like, "Oh yeah, really? That happened at the club? You went through that? Oh my gosh, that's crazy." Next thing you know, like they're not calling you back. Like you can forget it, forget anything that you signed up for. They're like, yeah, that person was crazy. Like I don't want them working here. And, you know, you don't want to run into that. You don't want that kind of life. So I'm like, I feel like that happens quite a bit, and people just kind of aren't ready for it, or they don't realize it, which is fine. I mean, there's no real way to like prepare for these things. I feel like. Okay, see, this is one of these moments where like the tracking needs to be like bullied back into submission, right? Like it happens, but I'm still getting used to it. Hopefully in the future I'm not gonna have to like constantly keep doing that. I think the more I learn, the easier it'll kind of get. Cause yeah, I can walk around basically all over the place now, do the 1-2 step, right? All that fun stuff. I don't know if the dancing streams are coming just yet, because like there's a lot of wiggling things I gotta figure out. It's not that the wiggling can't happen, I just feel like it's a little more inconsistent than I'd like it to be. And yeah, you know, that makes sense. I understand why, but you know, we'll get there. Over time, that's right. Let's see. I want to move the camera a little bit over. See, I'm getting better with the camera too. Look at that. Y'all don't have to bully me anymore. I know the last time we were doing the MMD World stream, that was really fun. I really want to do that again. Though I had some people come by for that. I didn't invite anybody for this today because I'm like, you know, if somebody wants to come, they can. But like, realistically, today I just kind of want to chill, right? And just kind of explore the stories and opportunities here. But anyway, back to my life update, as it were. You know, once again, anime world drama, I know. But yeah, so the person that they call BOSS, right? That guy, specifically that guy. They decided that they are finally going to let them go, you know, I didn't talk about it too much, but long story short, that guy was a psychopath. Don't know how he did it. Don't know why he lasted this long. We had like 8 people quit. It was real bad. For some reason, I was the only one to stay there, but you know, if you know anything about anime world, alright, the bills here are kind of crazy. I didn't really have a choice, so we did it. But hopefully things are a little better. Things are a little more stable, or are growing to be more stable, which is very nice. You know, I like having time back in my day, hours back. You know, this is all nice. I'm like, let me get all that. Let me get all that time. That's more time for videos, more time for streams, just content in general. Like, I'm all down for that, as you know. So I've been rather excited because I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool to kind of get back on my feet with those things. But I'm still working hard for the promotion, and that's where all the letters come in, right? All the recommendation letters I've been asking people for, I have like 5 right now, but I'm kind of closer to asking for about, I want to see if I can get 20. If I can get 20, I'll be quite satisfied. That's going to be good for me. The reason I say 20 is a good number is because I feel like what I want to do, the next position or opening I apply for, I want to piss off the recruiting managers so much that they're like, ugh, like, why did this person submit a novel? And they read it and it's all good feedback. And which is great because last time, right, I got to number 2. So I was this close. This close to getting that position. This close, right there, right between the eye there. And because I was that close, I'm like, okay, if the gap is like this, we need to figure out how to close the gap. And I think recommendation letters are going to be the way to do it. It might not be, but you know what? We got to try. Y'all know me. Always got to effort. Subarashi, all that, you know. Ganbaru, let's get it. Like, we're in there. We're going crazy out there. That's how we got to do it. So, that's the plan on that. And obviously, what I want to do, if I am working remotely soon, it would be really nice. I kind of want to actually come up with a proper stream schedule for you guys. I appreciate you guys for putting up with my ridiculous schedule for about the entire career that I've been on so far. And you know what? The only thing I have consistent now is Blue Sky. If you join my Blue Sky, I have posts coming out on there every day. And then I also have videos or VODs every Wednesday. And those are like the 2 most consistent things I've ever done at this point. Streams have been, when I first started, it was Wednesday, Sunday, and Saturday. Then life kept happening. So now it's just like, we're on Sundays now. But you know what? I feel like the Sundays have been mostly consistent. The problem now is like the time. Like, I'll plan to stream at 12, right? Because it makes sense. 12 is like lunchtime or break time for most people. So, you know, you're sitting down, you're not doing anything, and you see a ranma stream pop up, and you're like, yo, I gotta look at that. They might be onto something today. It might be something more important than a fox girl just talking at the camera, right? Like, you never know. But I'll do that. And then I'm like, okay, this is great. This is wonderful. I'm starting. And then something dumb happens where like audio doesn't want to work. The capture card fights with me. Or, you know, tracking will just be like, nothing wants to track now. You know, something dumb. It's always a technical fault as well. Will occur. And I'm like, I figured when I had 2 computers, these 2 computers, like 2 minds, right? They would come together and create like the perfect solution for just about everything. And the reality is that didn't happen. In fact, the opposite happened. Now they just don't want to play nice with each other. Like, I tell one computer to do this thing, I tell the other computer to do the other thing, and then they like argue. They're like, hey, I want to be the Discord computer right now. And I'm like, no, you're going to do this, and the other one's going to do this. And they just bicker. They bicker all day. And they're both very powerful. Like, they're of equal power to each other. One has like a little bit more space. But that's because, you know, I intentionally wanted one to be like, this is where all the stream stuff goes. The other one's more of a gaming PC, right? But the whole point is they converge purpose, and they bring the value, that lovely content that I can offer to you so much. You know, that's the point of it. But no, I argue with them, they argue with each other. Maybe one time, you know, me and the computer argue with the other one. It's bad. But the point is, it's working, and I'm figuring things out as I go. So hopefully, as I do more streams and stuff, you know, with more time especially, I get much better at like problem solving these things very quickly, and my streams don't have to be delayed by like 2 hours, and I can actually have a set time. I know that some of you are probably cringing right now that you know that I aim for 12, and I basically should never stream at 12 proper. I know that might hurt your feelings, but understand, it's not personal. It's not personal at all. It is solely, what is it gonna let me do today? And then I'm just like, well, I hope it lets me. I hope it plays nice. Yeah, it's rough. But, you know, just some other news about Unity and Blender, right? Unity and Blender have, I won't say treated me well. They've treated me better. Or maybe I got better at them. I actually had a friend that was laughing at me the other day about like how nobody wants to learn new skills anymore because it takes like actual hard work and dedication. And I was like, oh no, I'm down to learn new skills all the time. Like, Blender, oh my gosh. Blender is like anxiety, the program for me right now. I know there's a lot of potential in it, but every time I'm in Blender, I just feel like I'm being bullied by it. Like, it just wants to beat me up for no apparent reason. And I'm like, hey, no please, like, be nice to me? Question mark? And Blender's like, yeah, I can do that. No, actually I can't, sorry. Time to explode, and I'm like, oh man, this is rough. And then you have the other thing where it's like, okay, Unity, what's the best way to describe Unity? I feel like, actually, I have the perfect description. Okay, Unity is like this. Hey friend, could you do this thing for me I want you to do? And then Unity's like, yeah, I got that. Let me get that. I do that every day. It's fine. And then you're like, oh, thank you. You know, I really appreciate it. And then, you know, you say, hey, just make sure this favor I need from you, you're here at the place, specifically over there, by like, I don't know, 5 o'clock at least, you know, latest 5 o'clock. The Unity's like, yes, I'm gonna be there. Don't worry, I'll be there. And then it becomes like 10 p.m. and you're looking at Unity and you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, you're at least 5 hours late. Like, what are we doing? What happened? Why weren't you there? And Unity's like, I don't know. You know, I overslept, and then I woke up at like 2. And I was like, you know what, I gotta be at that place. And then my favorite TV show came on. And then I was like, oh man, it's 3 now, I gotta be at that place. But, you know, I got a phone call, things happened. Like, I got in the car, sat in the car, realized I didn't have gas, got out of the car, and then I went back in the house and just took a nap. And it's like, why are you so inconsistent? Why are you doing this? All I need you to do is this one thing. And the problem with Unity is, like, when it doesn't do the one thing, you are spending hours solving the problem for that one thing. Oh my gosh, it's so much pain. It's so much pain. Like, yes, I've gotten good at making, like, people avatars and stuff, and this is fine. But, like, when you run into a problem that needs to be troubleshooted, it doesn't just need to be troubleshooted. It needs to be, like, absolutely diagnosed, researched, literally. Like, it is that deep. Like, I have to actually, like, go in the depths of the problem, and I'm like, okay, where's the issue? And then when you find the issue, it's always something like stupidly minor, like absolutely, like, this small, like pea-sized small. It's like, oh, this one number here wasn't changed to 0, so like the entire program just nuke. And you're like, what? Why? And this is the other thing. This is going to piss off a lot of you artists too. A lot of you artists that don't know about this, I'm about to make you so angry. I don't even know if I've said this before. I'm having like deja vu right now. It's kind of weird. But listen, okay. When you're in Unity, right? The one thing all these programs do that Unity doesn't do. Oh, it's so bad. So you know how you do something wrong, right? Even Word does this right. You do something wrong, you Control Z. Control Z saves lives all the time. All the time it saves lives. It is that important. It is that important, Control Z. And you're like, okay, there's no way I'm not gonna have the opportunity to do this and like live my life. Oh, you know what? Misclick, it's cool. I'm just gonna Control Z. We're good, everybody. Show's over. Don't worry, we're fine. And then Unity's like, yeah, so I noticed you clicked that button and then this happened. It's not going back. And I'm like, okay, but I can work around it to like fix it, right? Like I noticed that it deleted from the entire project for some apparent reason. And Unity's like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It's gone. It's just gone. I'm like, what do you mean just gone? I spent 15 hours on that thing, and then it's just nope. No Control Z, no backspace, no close the program before auto saving, then open program. It is wiped. Like that is such a trauma. Oh my gosh, the amount of anxiety and trauma response you have to have with this program. Like I always, back up, save often. Basically, you have to treat Unity like one of those old-fashioned like GameCube RPG games, right? Like you don't have a memory card because your parents didn't want to buy one. They thought it was dumb. And you're trying to play the entire game in one day. That's where you are. That's what Unity's like. Because all it takes is one mistake. The entire project is, boom, delito, absolutely gone. Or as like one of my friends like to say, Yeetus deletus. That's insane. But it's kind of like that though. It's kind of like that. And I will say, when you have like programs or projects corrupt, right? Like Unity will let you open it almost, and then it'll close itself. Like you can't even access projects that corrupted. And you're just kind of like, okay, well, there's that. It corrupted, it's not coming back, it's not letting me in it. So whatever I left in there is just, poof, it's gone. It is absolutely gone. What do I do next? What do I do? And some of you don't know, so like this model here, right? This is actually the 5th variation of this model. I have remade this model at least 5 times. But the first one I spent time on, which took me 3 months to do, right? That one specifically is the one that I had nuke on me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I was so pissed. I was so livid. Okay, at the time, I would admit it, I was mostly sad and like preparing myself to shed tears. This is the true story. Okay? But I didn't, because I had a very nice friend like walk me through everything in 5 hours, and we recreated this in 5 hours. But now I'm making models in like 3 hours or less, which is nice, things worked out, but it's more of like the theory of how to do it and how to not piss off Unity while you're trying to do things. But let me tell you, so this is what happened, right? There was a very cute sweater that I had existing in a different project from the one that I was working on. The sweater is adorable. What's funny about it is I'm not wearing it now off of principle, but you know what? It's fine. It's an adorable sweater. I wanted it. Simple enough, right? You want to eat. Yeah. You do that. I wanted the sweater. I went ahead and got it. And by pulling the files out and then moving it to the new project was saying, hey, this sweater you have actually has like your model, like parts of your model attached to it already. Did you want to import the whole thing? Now, me being like, there's literally no way clicking a button would mess anything up. Like, why would it? Like, I hit the button. I just went in there and did it. And Unity looked at it and was like, okay, so this model that you have, because the original model is also in that project and you just brought it over, it's going to reset all of your settings to the original. And I was like, huh? And that's when I learned that there's no Control Z. There's none of that. You don't get that lucky in this world. Not with Unity. and it was just out. And I was like, okay, so what of my model does exist? And the friend was looking and they're like, nothing. It's just gone. I was like, oh my gosh, what do you mean it's just gone? No, 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 no. So yeah, that was my trauma story of how I learned. Okay, this is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Let's not make those mistakes again. So now I back up pretty regularly, especially if I make like a significant change, right? But it's usually like anything like dealing with bones or stuff like that, or just like the prefabs alone. And prefabs are kind of like, this is the actual file folder of what you want to put down. But you know what? I honestly was thinking maybe I should make like a guide for how things in Unity work. I feel like I have a pretty solid handle on these things now. But the reason I want to make a guide is this. Some of us, okay, not all of us, are, I would like to call, we are challenged in a specific way, okay? I would just put it that way. And because some of us are challenged, right? Understanding certain concepts without any support is actually quite difficult. Who would have thought? Not me. So, one of the issues I kept running into was people in videos would be like, boom, 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 boom. This is how that works. This is how that works. Boom, bada boom. Yeah. And that's what you gotta do. And I would say that and I'd be like, okay, I don't understand anything that person just said. What am I supposed to do? And I just wouldn't know. And I feel like at least with a guide, I can like tell people like, hey, so what that guy meant to say was, this is how a hierarchy is. Oh, what happened there? Oh, looks like Meta's debating with me still. Okay, I fixed that. I hope the audio wasn't weird there. It seemed like it might have been, but anyway. Yeah, so, oh my gosh, why is it doing that? We're getting very close to the I might need to troubleshoot a thing moment. See, there you go. It's kind of like as I speak on it, things occur. But anyway, yeah, it's like, okay, this certain thing goes down, and then somebody explains to you in the video, oh, you need to drop this in the hierarchy, and then move it there, and then do this, and then do that. And I'm like, okay, for those of us that are challenged, first question, what's a hierarchy? Second question, what is this? Third question, what is that? I don't know anything about that at all. And like, they're just not very clear about it, you know? Like, I feel like these things should be more obvious, but they're not. And that's usually what ends up leading to people like just not knowing what they're doing, ever. And that's kind of the thing I was thinking about. Okay, I'm not really one, I feel like, to make tutorial videos, but I think I might make an exception just to like teach some of us challenged people what's going on. Because it would be nice to understand what people are talking about. It's kind of like that meme with the RTS videos and like how to play an RTS, right? When people are like, okay, you do this, all in 10 seconds, and you're like, boom, I did not understand any of that. What are they talking about? Like, you need to have some knowledge to then take it further. And I think that's an issue. Like, it shouldn't be that way, right? So that's kind of like my current take on at least the way some of these tutorial videos are done. But yeah, do keep in mind, for some reason, and I've been charging this one tracker all night, but it keeps threatening me, saying it's going to die. So if it actually dies, that'll be another reason for me to be like, okay, 1 second everybody, bye-bye, and then I come back and do the thing anyway. But yeah, so it's just understanding stuff like that. I feel like it would be nice to teach people those things, and I guess just how to troubleshoot like basic things that everybody who's in this stuff already knows. Like, I think that's something that we don't really give enough credit for when it comes to like new things and new experiences. There's so much stuff that already exists that people got used to using, like Unity and Blender. But then, obviously for the new player experience, like, there's just no way to know, like, what am I doing with that? How do I learn that? And then, you know, the videos that do exist, I'm not saying they're bad. They're either outdated or they just don't help that much. Like, realistically, like, most of the things I've learned is because I've been, like, feeling things out, like, over time. Like, okay, I tried this, I watched this in a video, or I watched a video, but then I learned something I'm not supposed to learn in that video, and then apply it to something else, and then I'm like, okay, it was really cool that I figured that out, because I got lucky, and I looked at something else that I wasn't supposed to, but it taught me, like, a little trick. And that little trick went a long way, you know? So, it's stuff like that that I kind of want to potentially do videos for that. But then, now I don't know what color I'd make it. Maybe tutorial videos would be, like, yellow. But yellow is also, like, a hyper unpopular color, right? I know there's some of you that love yellow out there, but, like, let's be honest. Yellow's not, it's not normal, okay? It looks good sometimes. Extremely rare, though. I feel like yellow does better when it pairs with other things. But that's like the best you got. When it's paired up with other stuff, yeah, yellow does great. But when it's not, it's kind of like, okay. Just having hard yellow looks kind of weird, you know? But there's a couple colors like that. I know sometimes I feel that way about green, but as you can see, people are very used to saying green on green. You know, wildlife and all that. But some of the most interesting, like, I would say, at least in video games especially, the most interesting, like, designs for zones is when there are, like, multiple colors mixed into it. Which there are little colors mixed into this place too, but what I mean is more like you have, like, the green grass here, then there's, like, orange over there, or, like, you see wheat in the back, or it's, like, autumn, right? So there's, like, lots of different colors. I think that's usually the best, like, design stuff you'll notice. But there's just a lot of variety in that regard, so that's kind of my opinion on that, honestly. But I don't think things like this are bad. Obviously, this world is quite adorable. We haven't really gone, like, anywhere in it yet, but that's just kind of because I've been talking here, so y'all don't mind though, right? Like, this is what I wanted to do, and, you know, you're still watching, so obviously you wanted it too. You know, so, but yeah, it's really neat. I've been trying to get a couple friends actually to join me in VR from, like, 14 other streamers that you guys might know. Like, I've invited Panda, I've invited Elder, just kind of like to give them the ropes and teach them, like, how things work, because I know that they would definitely want to try it. It would be really cool to, like, hang out with, like, the community and stuff. But everybody, you know, to each their own, right? Hi, Nanabe. Fancy meeting you here. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that'd be really cool. Especially, like, I know so many streamers do it. It just kind of makes sense. Obviously, I, like, look at, like, people like Murder Crumpet, or, like, they have community stuff, and, like, I just think it would be really interesting to do, right? Obviously, I'd have to look at some of the logistics, because I feel like doing some of those as a stream would be nice. But I also need to, you know, everybody that's in the group now, I trust dearly. I know it might not seem like it, but if you were in the VRChat group for my streams already, that means you've done a lot. You've done a lot on the trust level, okay? So it's like, you did a lot on the trust level, you're there. Obviously, at some point, we probably need to open the community up a little bit more. So, like, days like today, if people want to join, you know, it's a little easier to join. But I don't know, I feel like, at least right now, things are pretty tame. I guess the risk of getting banned is, like, the big reason, like, we want to be careful with that kind of thing, but it would be lovely still. I think it would be good. It's just a matter of, like, when I get around to it. I do want to show you guys one thing, though. And I'm not going to show it for long, because it's technically not ready yet. But if you're watching the stream now, this is good. You'll get to see it. It's like a temporary thing I've been working on. It's a new outfit, yeah. I'm just gonna tell you that now. I'm like, I don't know why I'm being so secretive about it. Like, okay, it made sense, but then at first I was like, you know what, maybe I don't need to do it that much. But anyway, here we go. Let's see. Ah. So this is a Rippling Crown outfit. As you know, I love my water, and it's water theme. So it's quite nice. And I think it's cute and stuff. But, you know, it's in progress. It's not ready yet. But it's something I think is really cool. So, there you go. You get your sneak peek. You get your sneak peek. It's only not ready because there's like, you know, it's very flowy as you can see. And like the hair pieces are like in weird spots. And then I need to get some proper underwear on that thing. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. Think it's cute? I appreciate you. I thought it's adorable too, but, you know. Okay, this is what I mean by this skirt is just so flowy. Granted, it's just a leotard under there, nothing to, like, write home about, but I'm just not used to, like, accidentally hitting it. This is what's happening. I know y'all are like, oh yeah, who cares? Yeah, I get it. I care, okay? I want things to work as intended. But this is another one of those good examples of, like, this skirt needs to have a certain amount of colliders on it. Colliders are exactly what they sound like. You have thing here, this thing cannot pass it because it collides. That's literally like the most hammer and nail solution I can give you for how that works. Though some of you already know. This is for my people that like don't really understand VR yet. You know, they're getting used to it, it's fine. Now you've learned something new. I've already taught you. You feeling special yet? You feeling like you know everything? You're learning, right? That's the important thing. But yeah, it takes some time. I think the only thing that like really annoys me lately is like dealing with texture memory. So this is like I actually recently got this under 300, right? Apparently, from what I've been hearing, 300 texture memory is actually really high. I didn't know that. But again, these are things that I like consider making tutorials on because I'm like, I don't want to be a tutorial channel, but who was going to tell me that? Like, what do you mean 300's high? I actually, like, my old model used to have like 400 texture memory on it. And that's because the person that used to make them, you know, shout out to EK, right? They didn't optimize them because I would ask for way too much stuff. But I didn't know realistically what I was asking for until it was like too late. And I'm like, apparently I just drop into lobbies and I like nuke somebody's computer. Like it's that bad. I'm like, okay, I wish I had known that before. Now that I know, you know, I'll be a little better about it. But I also have this other issue. This is more of a, you know, personal issue, right? I have like 12 outfits on this model. Apparently 12 outfits is like also ridiculous. And everybody's like, you should have different models for different outfits so you don't have to do that. And I'm like, haha, yeah. Yeah, I totally don't already have 4 avatars with like several different wardrobes. Completely not a thing right now. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, yeah. Like, oh, who's gonna tell him? Not me. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be the one. But no, that's what happens right now. Okay. Now that I've nerded out enough about like new VRChat things, and I feel like y'all get the point now. We've learned some stuff, gained some knowledge, considering giving it out to you guys. We got 2 other major things to talk about. These are huge, these are big, okay? Duolingo. Some of you love it, some of you hate it. I do both. I hit 100 days on Duolingo. I think I'm at like 113 right now. But man, that app is such a lifesaver right now. Okay, so if you guys remember when I was doing like Nihongo Josu streams, right? I just didn't practice Japanese enough. Like I know it well enough to teach it, but like I just don't practice enough. So like my Nihongo is like rather limited, right? I keep saying Nihongo. I'm sorry. Japanese is like the Nihongo is like the word for it, right? So. Nihon is Japan for them, but when you say Japanese, it's Nihongo. Kind of like English is ego, right? But then you have ego. No, I said ego, didn't I? Eto. Yeah, English, because that's the language, right? So English is ego, but it's got the go in there, right? So Nihongo is Japanese. That's what I meant to say. My brain was getting there, okay? It took a second. Don't judge me. But Duolingo's good because it's been making me practice my grammar more. And also speaking. It makes you do a little bit of everything, but I'm like, that's great because I'm actually using it a little bit every day. And I think the most important part to this is doing it every day. Like, practicing a skill every day is probably the strongest way or the strongest method to get better at it. Honestly, anything you do every day, extremely valuable, right? Like, that's something you care a lot about. And I feel like Japanese for me, I just wasn't giving it the time of day it deserved. I just wasn't. And now that I do Duolingo, I am. Though it does still make me mad some days. I'll say the only thing that I actually have a gripe with as far as the app, literally the only problem, by the way, the app does not do a great job teaching you new words. At all, okay? It'll be like, oh, you need to learn this word. So we're going to drop this word in the next lesson. And it doesn't matter. If you get it wrong, we're just going to mark you down for it. And I'm like, if you're going to teach me something new, at the very least, be lenient. Like, I'm still learning the word. Like, you can't just throw the word in there and then be like, deduct 2 points. Like, I didn't know the word. What do you want me to do? But, you know, it's cool because, like, before, I would say a comfort sentence because I didn't have, like, any brain power to, like, really weave together a quick sentence to just whip out at somebody, like, wapa, right? But now, I can come up with other sentences pretty quickly, you know, where it's like, oh, anata wa ice creamu, you know, like, I can just go into it, right? Where before, I would always say, what's my phrase? I feel like it's my catchphrase now, where I'd always be like, Nihongo ga skoshi wakarimasu ka? Which is basically me asking you, do you know a little bit of Japanese? And, you know, the other person's like, oh, hi, you know, Nihongo ga wakarimasu, or, you know, wakarimasen, yeah, you know, that kind of thing, right? And I feel like before Duolingo, that would just be the thing. I would just whip one of those out anytime somebody's like, do you speak some Japanese? Boom, there it is. Like, don't ask me any more questions. I'm not ready for them. But now I'm a little bit better about it, you know? Oh, okay. Somebody said something in a different chat. I'm gonna see if I can actually see your comment. I'm so sorry. Just so you're aware, Twitch chat is kind of like where all the chat is when I'm in VR. It's very difficult for me to like see chat anywhere else. So it's not you, it's me, okay? It's absolutely me. I feel so bad. I don't know if you're on YouTube or Kick or Rumble, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Your comment is too far away from my eyes to see, but I appreciate it nonetheless. And I will respond to it after stream, of course. Like, that's one thing that's very easy for me to do. If the comment is there, I can always hit like the reply button. So you'll get it like pinged. At least I've acknowledged I've acknowledged you. But if you want like immediate answers and stuff like that, yeah. Twitch is better for the VR space. I have to fight with some different programs to really get into like allowing me to combine all the chats again, because that's how I used to do it. But things have changed quite a bit since then. I'm not really able to do it that way anymore, unfortunately. And you know, it's a very tiny thing. Like we were talking about technical difficulties earlier. It's one of this small things, but it's annoying enough that like I'd have to call like these 3 different like companies to fix it, and I didn't bother. I'll be honest. I'm like, you know what? Twitch is a thing, it's fine, even though it's like mildly falling out of popularity right now. I feel like it's not so bad, you know? At least that's my current opinion on it. But that's what's happening with that. Let me change back to the other outfit. This one's fine. Oh, you know what? I haven't even showed you guys this outfit here. So I'm gonna show you this one. First I'm gonna change my hair, because I don't think I show you guys this hairstyle very often. Or ever, but this is another hairstyle that grew on me quite a bit. So here's a fun trivia question, okay? A lot of people actually do not know what my model is. It's quite entertaining to me, I will assure you. I think it's funny, but I think it's funny because I'm me, right? So here's the joke. Do you think I am a Manuka? Do you think I am a Celestia? Do you think I'm a Miltina? Or do you think I'm a Rendo? these are the avatars that are usually thrown up in the air, right? About like, oh, what are they? What am I? And I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to know. But I like that I'm, I'm unique enough that people genuinely can't tell. Like, that's always a good time. Like, I love that. Like, it's quite unnecessary, I assure you, but I've gotten accused of being all of them at least a couple times. Which is funny, at least to me. But again, it's rather unnecessary. I can agree with that much anyway. But that's how people think about it. Now, I can't just give you the answer. Even though it would be easier for me to give you the answer, I like the idea of, like, you guys go home with this question and you come back, like, thinking later on, oh, I think I guessed right. It's this one. It's Morpho. Something like that. That's quite entertaining to me. So that's what I would go with. I'm going to stick to that. Well, yeah, some of my fits and like hairstyles give off like a more of an impression of one, right? So like, I am most like Manuka when I'm like this. I think most people would think, right? Because it's like, oh, Manuka's got like the hair buns, right, and the like really cute lolly like look to her. So when people see my hair buns and the Lolita outfit, right, they start kind of connecting the dots there. But it's like, obviously I'm not a lolly, so what do we mean? What do we really mean by that? But that's kind of like the thoughts people get to. Okay. Also, we have you're not saying anything. Yeah, don't say anything, Nanabi. Don't say anything. You know too much, okay? You know too much. It's not good. But yeah. The other thing, I did want to mention this because it was on my mind. I was up all last night watching Hero X. Okay, there's a great friend that was showing me like just such good animation. Okay, I know you guys have heard me like nerd off about Spider-Verse at least 300 times. I am sorry, but not really. Like, you know what it's like. Good animation, good art. I'm just a sucker for it. What can I say? Everything around us is a result of good art. You can't argue with me. You can't. Creativity is like so important. This isn't even like a topic or a discussion about AI or whatever. Like, genuinely, to be creative is such a powerful superpower. Like, actually though, it is. Oh my gosh, there's so many anime that do such a good job expressing creativity, even as like in a power system or like a character that like is vibing with something like that. There's just so many good ones. And I love creative media. I really do. Like, it's so important for media to be the way it is, where like creativity is valued in that way. Because like without creativity, not gonna lie, we all could be like that one episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy's like, I wish everybody was the same, and then everybody's walking around with their like little blob fits or whatever, and then he had his pink hat still, and they're like, nah, you gotta get rid of that hat, like, you're too unique, kid. It was absolutely ridiculous episode. But it's true, what a boring existence they lived in, just because he basically said, I don't want creativity. Why are Cosmo and Wanda strong enough to do that? Whole different question for another day, but that was just, he realized the mistake he made, and he's like, nope, we can't live like that. That's so boring. It's so lifeless. So yeah, I don't blame anybody for that. I don't. Things are so much better, like especially when like an animator puts some heart into it, So, and why do I bring this up, right? This is important because me watching this anime, it's not like super new to me. I was getting shown clips before, but it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. Like, I saw the clips and then they obviously, I stopped looking at them the second I moved on with my life. And oh my gosh, actually watching I think I watched like episode 1 through 4, but like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's good in the arcane way, okay? And what I mean by that, so you know how like Spider-Verse is like it's this media that's built to like uplift you. Like Spider-Verse wants you to feel good, okay? And that's because obviously the creator of Spider-Man, right, Stan Lee, his whole message was anybody can wear the mask. Like that was his thing. He wants everybody to feel like they have what it takes to be a hero. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great message. I love that. And it works. It works for Spider-Man. Anyone can wear the mask. And I love that concept, right? So when it comes down to the way Spider-Verse is structured as a media, right? It is structured to have you watch the hero's journey. Character goes through trauma. Character deals with conflict. Character rises above conflict. Becomes the hero they're meant to be. And then skyrockets to the top. That's like the whole like path of, I feel like, most comics and films. Like they want you to have that feel-good moment at the end where you're like, yes, yes, yes. I love that character. That's my guy. I watched him grow from like when he was a wee little SpongeBob over here. But now he's up there. He's got his own movie. He's doing it. That's what I feel like most media wants. And then you have stuff like Arcane. Oh my gosh. Alright. Let's get into it. The thing is, like, okay, Arcane, some of the best animation you'll ever see. Objectively, like, beautiful art, beautiful storytelling, beautiful music. It's got everything that a peak like medium would have in a very similar way. How Spider-Verse worked, right? In a very similar way. But the one thing that Arcane does that Spider-Verse did not do, right? Arcane is one of these stories that I like to call human condition stories. They focus very deeply on like the issue with humanity and its various like conflicts that it has with each other, or like with the self even sometimes. So we've seen many characters in Arcane. They change in ways where like they are not like who they felt they were, right? They change in a personal level. This person used to be like this, now they're like this, right? Then you have this, they change like how they view the world and like their worldview. Then they change like how they interact with other people. So the characters are like very deep and complex and constantly changing on like a super very interesting level. But the human condition, and when I say human condition, there are conflicts that occur because of the nature of human nature itself. Like war, for example. No matter what, people just can never stop fighting, right? That's the thing that like everybody talks about. I would say even us, like, even though there was always war, there always has been war, right? I would say the 2010s and like even like kind of, well, maybe like 4 years ago, right? I feel like we lived in a relatively peaceful time, like worldwide. Like the internet kind of changed things in a way where like, yeah, people are still out there committing like hella crime, don't get me wrong. But because so much is on TV now, I feel like there's like the crime rates on a scale of like the planet went down by like a good 20%, you know, like people were trying to chill out, not destroy other countries and whatnot. And like for some reason we just cannot stop fighting. So of course we go back to like the human nature of it, right? So like Arcane, you see a conflict happen to a character. You want that character to succeed. But then another conflict here happens to another character. This character's conflict is solved by hurting this character more. And you're like, I don't want that to happen, but I understand that this character needs that. But then you watch them harass that character, and then this person harasses the other characters, and you know, it's like nobody has a good ending. And then when people do have a good ending, their lives end because somebody else ended it for their good ending. And it's like this constant chase towards like this goal that everybody has. So like one thing, for example, and this isn't a spoiler by the way, this is just my opinion on One Piece. I believe the way One Piece as a story is structured, every character, villain, good guy, doesn't matter. Everybody is fighting for their belief of what true freedom is. That is my opinion, right? And One Piece is another human condition story. So Arcane does this, where like everybody in Arcane is fighting for peace, technically speaking. but they're all going about it in vastly different ways. Vastly different ways. And that conflicts with each other. So it's like, no matter what, someone in Arcane will always be hurt, and you will always be sad, and you're not allowed to have like these peace moments of like, I just want to like enjoy this person's story and watch them be happy. And that's kind of how, you know, the difference between something like Arcane and Spider-Verse, right? Spider-Verse wants me to lift that character up and feel good watching him fly up, whereas Arcane wants me to remember where I live. It wants me to remember that this is what we are, and we don't change. Even though we want change, we don't change. So what is the message of that story? Well, not gonna lie, that's why we call it Human Condition Story, because the message is, we are human. That's it. Like, you experience things, you go through things, you feel so many emotions you were not ready for, and then bam, there it is. It's over. And at the end of it, you're either crying, you're either angry, you're either sad, or maybe you're happy. Maybe you're happy that like a character, you know, got whatever they maybe found in the end, or like maybe their peace in death or something like that. You never know. But yeah, that's why I call them that, because like, I feel like a Human Condition plot is built on the idea of, you can recognize that people have gone through these different challenges and they have made peace with the challenges that they've been with, right? The only one who got what they wanted in Arcane was Singe. Yeah, I guess you have a point. Because it just felt like no one was getting anything for a long time. Even there were moments, okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Those of you who know, you know. But Vander, that's all I got to say. I wanted so much for that man. I did. And I felt like he was gonna get it. I did. So I'm gonna leave that there. That's gonna go in the aether space of anime world. All right, there it is. That we're gonna leave it over there. But you get the picture. So I feel like a lot of media, especially the good animation stuff, Hero X, Arcane, Spider-Verse, right? I feel like a lot of the new media that are like playing with this idea of like, I don't know what to call it. I guess I'll call it something corny. I'll call this new idea hyper animation. All right, well, let's just dub it that. So, what I consider this hyper animation concept, right, is instead of 2D animation leveling up and 3D animation leveling up, both of these have kind of like hit the peak, right? So now the best way to create new animation or animated stories that feel like they're elevated on the next level is to combine the mediums. So like, what do I mean by that, right? So you know how like a lot of game developers talk about how like graphics are like, you kind of hit a peak with graphics, right? This game looks amazing. It looks real almost. I even watched an RDC video recently where it was memeing that idea, where like the guy had made this amazing game that looked like real life, but then nobody wanted to play it because they were playing an indie game that was like Stickman or whatever. And it's like, yeah, Stickman has heart in it. That's why people want to play that over the actual AAA game that has like a bunch of graphics in it. But so you have this idea of like, if graphics can only hit so far, how do I get my game to go beyond the graphic limitations? Well, this is where you get style, right? So you have something like Persona 5. And I'm going to say this because I love the Persona series, but I need to be honest with all of you right now. As much as I love simp over Persona in the entire franchise, let's be real. Persona does not do anything unique that a basic RPG doesn't do. You've played a Persona game if you've played an RPG game. That's just a fact. Like at its core, it is an RPG game, but style takes this RPG that should be here up here. It's that serious. It is that serious. The story, the music, the style and design, the art like direction, all of that elevates Persona so hard that like it's almost unrecognizable as an average RPG. But they're not doing anything different. Shinigami Tensei has been doing the same thing for years. Monsters hit other monsters. Human owns monster. Monster is a reflection of human personality. That's it. It's doing the same formula it's always done. They even use the same monsters for games, several games. But it works because they just know where to put the money. They know exactly where the money needs to go, and that's in the art and style. That's where it is. Genuinely. Pokemon? See, Pokemon I feel like is in an interesting place. Hand painted 2D. Yeah. That's really good. That's also really good. But Pokemon specifically, I feel like they know what to do with their money, they just refuse to. They'd rather bully Power World for trying to like innovate than like actually do it themselves. But if I do want to talk about Pokemon, you do have like Pokemon Violet, and what's the other color? I don't even remember anymore. But anyway, the newest Pokemon game that came out. Oh, this one hurts my heart. That game is absolute peak. However, all the bugs and problems that it had turned so many people off. Like, I don't really blame anybody for not wanting to play it. Like, I didn't want to play it either. And then a friend was like, okay, I'm just going to buy you the game. I'm playing the game, and I'm like, oh crap. This game is good. Like, that game has everything Pokemon players have wanted for generations. Number one, it had the fact that your Pokemon follow you around. Number two, you could travel the entire world. This one was a big one for me because as Xenoblade X being my favorite game, exploring the entire universe is so huge to me. Like, I don't need an open world game necessarily, but being able to like explore and traverse, amazing, super important, right? Number three, people got tired of like the champion journey for Pokemon. Always having to go fight the gym leader, fight the gym leader, fight the gym leader, fight the champion. That formula is getting old. And they played a little bit with like deviating from that with Aloha. Like, Aloha is my favorite game, Sun and Moon, right? They deviated from that a little bit, but they really buckled down with this one. Where like, it lets you pick which story you wanted to play. Yes, to hit endgame, you had to play all three stories. I understand that. But you had like the Team Rocket story, right? Go fight the bad guy. You have that story. Then you had the Champion's Journey story. Go get all your gym badges. Then you have like the Go Hunt Monsters story. Go hunt monsters and explore the world. This is huge. This game did everything we've all wanted. Like, Sword and Shield set up the foundation for this game to fly. And just because they rushed it and didn't want to put enough money into it in enough time, it came out bad. And it's a shame. It really is a shame. But I'm like, stuff like that is what people wanted. We've been asking for that for years. And now half the player base didn't want to play it because, well, they did a bad job on it, you know? And Pokemon never fumbles like that. But before I even get into like the Nintendo like rabbit hole of what Nintendo definitely shouldn't be doing, because listen, y'all that know me already, like the Switch 2 stuff is diabolical. I'm not even gonna go there right now. But just going off of like Pokemon's, or like even not Pokemon, but like Nintendo's direction like a few years ago, right? Like 2 or 3 years ago. For some reason, they have like decided that they're going to enter the sphere of gaming where companies do really weird things like, oh, this game isn't ready, but we'll just send out like a day one patch or something. And it's like, Nintendo used to be really good about making sure their products were ready before they hit stores. And let me tell you why. Some of you probably don't remember, and that's okay. When a Nintendo game dropped, it was always a complete product. There was nothing wrong with it. It played the way as intended, and you had like an online mode. You had like endgame, which there was no DLC. There was endgame. That's how that worked. Like a Mario endgame, like you played Mario or Kirby or something, and you finished the game, and it was fun. It was cute. It was adorable. Then the endgame is like, oh, you still want more video games to play? We got something for you. And then you're like sweating super hard because of how hard endgame is. That's how it was, right? But it was a complete experience. At best, if they sold any extra content for it through the store, it's like a costume or something. And we know this because I used to think DLC for Nintendo games were boring. Like, oh, let me put Bayonetta in a Peach costume. Like, nobody cared about that stuff. But now they're like, oh, wait, we could do what all the other companies do and just start like dropping day one patches or like releasing things broken and then fixing them later or dropping DLC. that's like an entire storyline that should have already been in the game. And, you know, not to make fun of, like, the Caleb Skitty skit, but, like, I said Skitty skit. The Caleb City skit. The one where the dude's, like, screaming money, like, he just wants to release half the game and then drop the rest as DLC. It's awful. But, like, that's kind of what's happened. And I feel like Nintendo was a lot better than most of the other companies because they really cared about, like, the player experience. But now they just don't care anymore. But I will say this. They do care for one IP. Can you guess which one it is? I bet you can. That man Mario. Jumpman Mario. They care about Mario games still, and you can tell because when a Mario game comes out, it's a complete product every time. Even today, they never drop a Mario game that just... Mario games always drop with no flaws. I swear it. I swear it. I have yet to see a Mario game drop with a flaw. Like, Pokemon, sure, they gave up on them. Zelda, yeah, whatever. Breath of the Wild, people are gonna buy it anyway. Oh, yeah, that IP over there? Yeah, F it. F all that, F these, F those. They don't care. Mario games, perfect every single time. I'm very curious to see how this Donkey Kong game goes. I'm very curious. Because it's Mario adjacent enough that I feel like, okay, is there gonna be a flaw here? Even Smash would drop with some minor flaws in it. Granted, most of it's balances, but like... I'm trying to tell you, these Mario games, these Mario games are perfect almost every time. I can't wait to see. I can't. Oh my. I see so much like... Oh my goodness. I am so sorry for, again, this is like my second apology for those of you that are on a different platform. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can only see Twitch, fair warning. But anyway, yeah, so it's like, I can't necessarily be mad at like a person not wanting to fund something when it's just not complete. Like, I can't. And you know what? Honestly, companies and things like this should want to do better. Like, you should want the player or the user experience, as we talk about, to be better. But anyway, back to my main point of like the whole hyper animation concept, right? Hyper animation is like, at least the way I want to describe it, you've hit the peak in everything that you can do. The sound design, the art for like 2D, the art for 3D, even like painted art, like different forms of art, right? Like, so if we can look at Spider-Verse and how the second movie I think was way better than the first one, and the reason is the first movie was playing with the idea of like, well, let's try this new animated style and see if it works. It went great. Then you have the second movie. They just went crazy. Like, they have so many different like styles of art going on. Like, they even had the Lego thing going on. Like, they just went into every possible art style they could find, and they made it work. And it was beautiful. It was glorious. It was amazing. So I'm like, to me, yeah, combining different art mediums and different forms of animation to create one piece is huge. And I think the Hero X story, right? The one I just watched like last night, is doing something very similar where like they're playing with so many different art forms and so many different transitions. Okay, y'all know how I love my transitions. Anime openings. Hi, Panda! No, there's no hottie here. You can whistle, but you can't hide. I was just telling everybody in chat earlier that I was inviting you to come in VR. You'll get your time. You'll get your time. But yeah. So it's like this Hero X story does so well with like transitions and stuff. Like, there was one scene. Okay, this one scene was insane. So I'm gonna describe it two ways because the friend that I was with explained it one way, and I missed what they were talking about entirely. And then there's the way it does work. Bombastic side-eye, huh? You gonna side-eye me, Panda? You can't side-eye me. I appreciate you. I'm trying to look good. I am. I've worked very hard on my design, as you can see. I have different outfits too that I think are probably okay or safe for Twitch. So, let's see this one. This one should be fine. Yeah, this works. Okay. I thought it might be a little not, but it's good. It's good. But anyway, right? So this show, it did this thing. I was watching the first part of the story with the nice guy, right? So it did this really cool thing where like there's this character in the back that was shooting lasers towards the nice guy. The camera angle like side paneled here, right? It like went to the side. Then as the laser would come on the screen, areas behind the laser would change from 3D to 2D with the laser. And I'm like, okay, art nerd moment here. Implied lines and transitions are to gush for. Every time that you have a scene in an animation, or you see something in a drawing, or you see something in a game, and you're like, dang, that flowed perfectly to the other like panel or something, that is because they did the thing. They did the transition thing, and it was glorious, okay? This is so much big, like, for those of you that don't understand, remember when your teacher hit that thing and it went from this PowerPoint page to the other one? It was like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, transitions make up so much animation flow, you have no idea. You usually only see them in openings mostly though, because openings are like, I feel like openings are where transitions live for the most part. But literally, this show did such a fire job because like it was changing the whole background with how many of these lasers were coming out. And I'm like, that was just so genius. But the main character himself didn't change yet. They were still in 3D. But then somebody pointed out to me that there was this character, this different character, and I guess on a different episode, that likes to snap, right? And when that character snaps, the animation usually changes because of the way their ability works. So that character snapped in the middle of all the lasers changing the background. The snap changed the character that was in front of us, and it wasn't even him. I thought he was the one that snapped. It's like, no, that was the other guy from like a whole different area. And like that scene just came together so well. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's effing cool. That's animation like this. This is good. This is good. Some of y'all know if art was the food, I would just be eating it all day. Like, it was just so good. It was absolute peak. I couldn't help it. I could not help but appreciate what I was looking at. And I'm like, yeah, I just need to watch more of this. I just need to watch more of this. I saw the skit that Sylvanas did for Hero X, and I was like, oh, it's another hero story. I'm not gonna watch it. It's fine. I was one of those people that also was a little bit burnt out on like the hero plot. I feel like we all hit our peak, right, with Marvel and Endgame, and it was like, okay, cool. Then Disney was doing weird things with Marvel and the TV shows, so it got all milked out, and none of us really wanted to watch anymore. It was like, yeah, I'm good on my hero stuff. Then you have My Hero. My Hero finished. Great story and everything, but it's like, okay, I'm good on my hero stuff. My Hero did its thing. Yeah, I didn't really want to watch any more hero stories, and this one I'm like, okay, alright. I thought I knew what I was talking about. I don't. There's more to be had. There's more to appreciate. It just looks good. I can't be mad at it. So yeah, that's what I'm watching now, apparently. I didn't even expect to watch it, but like, it's so there. It's so there. It's so there. You have no idea how there it is. You have no freaking idea. So, you know, for all of you that like love animation as well, I highly suggest looking at Hero X. Like, when I say it's got that arcane energy, I mean like genuinely the way Arcane makes you mad for watching, which you can't you can't stop watching. Hero X does that. It does that. It does. I didn't think it was at first. I thought we were looking at more of a Spider-Verse occasion for the first time, and I was wrong, you know? It was like, okay, it's doing that. That's too bad, but I say too bad, but it's kind of like I was saying about Prey, right? Like, the game itself is objectively an excellent game. Like, there's no real way to, like, not compliment Prey. Like, it's just a solid title. But because it feeds on the anxiety of people, and I've never really played, like, horror games like that, it makes me way too anxious to not get mad at it. It does. Because I look at it and I'm like, okay, I don't appreciate that Prey is trying to like scare me with like the anxiety factor. You can use the normal horror factor, you can use the jump scare. The anxiety factor, now that's just evil. You're not right. You're not right for that. You aren't. And you know you're wrong, but that's what happens. So yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. But yeah, I can honestly say it's so worth it. It's so freaking worth it. Though I haven't really gotten a grasp on the power system yet, I will say. Usually I'm really good at like telling how power systems are gonna work. I guess what's hard about this one for me is not understanding if it's a soft or hard power system. Just to kind of explain that real quick though, like, some of you already know this, but I always like to explain for any new viewers, okay? Sue me, I'm sorry. It's just how it is. Like, you can't go into nerdy stuff and not, like, break it down a little bit for those that might not know. But anyway, so when you talk about a soft power system, right? That's stories like Madoka Magica. That's stories, I think Konosuba might count, actually. Basically, soft power systems are any story that, like, you don't have the rules. You don't have the rules for the universe. You kind of have an idea of how it works, but enough of it is mystery or mysterious that you don't really know. Like, you know this character can shoot this giant laser, but you don't really know the science behind how that was possible, right? Then you have hard magic systems. This is like your Hunter x Hunter, this is your My Hero. These are stories that tell you everything about its system and how it works, and breaks it down fact by fact by fact. So kind of like One Piece, right? Where like One Piece starts off feeling like a soft power system, but then it gets really hard later on, right? So My Hero, Black Clover, most shonen like to be hard power systems because they like to really like let people invest on this is how things function. And I think Dragon Ball also started that trend, whereas like you have stuff like Madoka where Madoka's more focused on telling its story, right? So you'll see most things that are soft power systems are more story focused because they don't want you to think so much about like how is the magic possible. They want you to think more about how does the magic here affect the characters and the story and universe around it. So when we talk about the difference between hard or soft, right now Hero X to me is a very soft system because like you have a vague understanding of how the power system might work, but then there's just really odd things about it that are kind of untraditional that I just haven't really caught on to yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit difficult for me to catch on right now, but I am trying to. I am definitely trying to. But yeah, it's like, okay, so when it comes to stories that I like hard power systems more because I enjoy crunching those nerdy numbers. You know, this is like trill tons or whatever, or like this, you know, this blast works in this way, but it can be deflected by X, Y, and Z, right? And my favorite manga is Akame ga Kill. So that was a hard magic system in a lot of ways. Because like S-Deaths for different characters, you had their weapons, you had how they worked. Like one of my favorite characters is Mine. And Mine actually, if you remember, she's the sniper. Well, the assuming sniper, anyway. Mine has a weapon she calls Pumpkin. The way Pumpkin works is, depending on how much of a pinch she's in, determines how strong the weapon is. So, for example, not to spoil too much, when there was S-Death and a second character of equal power to her, because she's like the big bad of the story, essentially, both characters were in front of Mine when this happened. So, because her mentality says, you're in a serious pinch right now, as in, you're in a lot of danger, you're probably gonna die. That's what her brain said. The weapon responds to your brainwave in that way. And instead of shooting a sniper bullet like the weapon is made to do, it shot a freaking like mega laser. Like it shot like a hyper beam times 20 at this person. But that's how cool like their system is, because I can, with a hard magic system, you can look at how something works and you can like theory craft, like, oh, when you see all those stupid meme videos where like, oh, but can this character beat Goku, right? That's because these are two hard magic systems being compared to each other. So it's like, oh, this character can fight Ichigo because her pumpkin weapon does this, and Ichigo's really fast, so she'll be really worried as a sniper. Thus, she'll hit Ichigo with like a huge blast, right? Like, there's kind of like the breakdown of stuff like that. Is Avatar a hard magic system? That's a great question. So, I'll say Avatar is actually a soft system. I think if you look at Korra, the Legend of Korra is when Avatar became a hard magic system. Original Avatar explained that the elements were a thing to you, but they didn't really break down why certain characters could do certain things. So, like, Azula could do lightning, right? Azula could just do that, and the explanation the story gave was, oh, Azula's just talented, right? That's the excuse they went with. But to me, that doesn't tell me anything about the magic system of how does a firebender elevate to do, like, electric, like, techniques like that, right? Then you had Toph. When Toph started bending metal, right? They played with the idea of, like, there is a science here. Like, they told us there's a science to it, but they didn't show us until you got to Legend of Korra. When you get to Korra, you see all of Toph's descendants talking about, like, hey, this is how we, like, all learned to, like, train people to actually bend metal. And then we all started being metal benders and started using it to, like, do Spider-Man things and be the police, right? But you don't really get told until later. And then even with, like, just the way the Avatar themselves work, there's so many, like, things with the spirit world and how the Avatar needs to be in tune, and the Avatar state needs to be a certain way to be used. Like, there are obviously rules there, but most of them are tied to, like, Aang's emotions, right? When he was encountering certain things. So it was very difficult to pin down what's happening. So I would say Avatar is a soft system. Now, once you get to Korra, Korra changes a lot of things. Number one, Korra, we get to see the original Avatar in that story, which is, I think, what's his name? Wan? So, the thing about him is, like, we learned how the Avatar got all that power, right? Then we learned how the Avatar got passed down through generations. So you start learning, like, okay, this is how all this science works. This is how the Avatar came to be. Thus, this is how that wild dude became the Dark Avatar and started fighting the, Korra at the time. So I'm like, yeah, Korra made it more of a science, especially when it came to martial arts. Some people really like martial arts in Korra because if you do martial arts in real life, Korra actually does talk a lot about, like, fighting style and, like, this is how, characters do this, that, and the third, and this is how you want your form to be. So all the bending becomes very controlled. And people have really good form in Korra, so, like, it's harder to attack people in Korra because they have very defensive stances and stuff. But in original Avatar, people weren't, like, as battle trained, if that makes sense. People just threw fireballs because that's what they knew how to do, right? That's what they were born with. But, like, in Korra, their fighting is a lot more focused. And as a result, like, things are broken down on a much more technical level. And then they start learning how to lava bend and fly and metal bend. Like, Korra just goes crazy. Like, absolutely crazy. OG Avatar was based on Kung Fu and Korra is based on boxing. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Legend of Korra didn't happen. I like Korra. I think Korra was trying really hard to be, I think season 1 got a lot of crap for being, like, a high school drama. And then after season 1, they started doing the thing where they're like, oh, we'll just make the story more mature. And they leaned way, way too hard on the more mature thing. Because Korra's been through some stuff. Like, I think she's been through worse things than Aang. Like, Aang has it bad, don't get me wrong. But, like, Korra's gone through some serious PTSD and all these other things. And she was poisoned at one point, like, real bad. It was not an easy time for her. No. It was not. But yeah, they both went through a lot, I'll say that. And I know the new series that they're coming out with is supposed to be, like, twin avatars now. I wonder how they're going to do that or why they're even doing another series. Because I feel like the whole point of Korra was, like, she's the last avatar, but she's also in a time period where the avatar is no longer needed. Like, that's, like, the whole early part of Korra. She's trying to, like, make herself important. And the world has moved on. The world's moved on. Like, we don't need an avatar. We have police now. We have Spider-Man police over there. We have Airbender temples up here. we have, like, the Fire Nation. They're in check. They're doing their dues, right? Like, everybody's doing their own thing now. What do we need an avatar for? The world's at peace, technically speaking, right? So she just needed to do a lot of, like, validating herself. And then she ended up dating some characters because they validated her in these different ways, right? So I feel like it got too high school drama for some people. And then they were like, oh, well, we can just easily make this take a darker turn. Which for some people, it's okay. I can deal with a darker story. I can. But, like, sometimes I just felt bad for Korra in a way where I'm like, okay, I kind of wish they were a little nicer to her. Like, the writers just absolutely hate her guts. It was so childish, and whenever the villains made an interesting point, they would make him comically evil for no reason. Okay, yeah, you're probably onto something there. I will say Amon, though, early Korra was absolute nightmare fuel. So even though it was a very childish like perspective that she had, I'm not gonna lie, Amon did need to be stopped. He did need to be stopped. The rest of them, you can feel however you want about the rest of the Korra villains, but Amon specifically, yeah, no. Because, okay, the whole concept of like, we don't need benders anymore, he's not wrong. But he also took the nuclear option, okay? Because for those of you who've watched Jujutsu Kaisen, right? I'm not going to say anything like that's going to spoil you, but you have that one scene where there's a character talking to another character, right? And they literally say, you know, if the problem is the fact that we have magic in our universe and these things exist because of emotions and magic, then all we need to do is just destroy everything that has emotions or magic, or give everything magic. Then the world will be at peace. And it's like, okay, that's not bad. But then I feel like most characters with this like mentality of how do we solve the problem of our world, right? They take the Thanos option and they're like, overpopulation. Well, if I just nuke half of it, we're good. No need to like overcomplicate this here. And you're like, Thanos, no, that's evil. That's murder. You don't do that. But then like there are so many villains that are just like on that train for no apparent reason. I mean, obviously they're written to be simple, right? Like actual Thanos is a lot more complex than Thanos that we saw in the movie theater. And when I say complex, I don't mean like he has good goals. Like his goals in the comics are really stupid, in my opinion. But while the MCU has validated him as a more impressive character, I'd say, his motivation, his like answer to the solution is so hammer and nail that I just feel like I can't take him as seriously as I would take like a better written villain, if that makes sense. Like Thanos' thing is just, well, I just have to delete half people. And you're like, okay, he talks about destiny and this all needs to go down and he has to be the hero of the world, and it's cool, but it's cool in like a very, wow, that guy's mentality is twisted kind of way. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it. I even loved the way they filmed Infinity War, because I was telling friends about this, and I will forever bully you guys for the way you said I was wrong at first. Because they waited for the creator of the film to say this, to say I was right, which is so annoying. If people are right, allow them to be right the first time when they come up with the idea, not because the word of God or something happened. But anyway, so basically what they ended up telling me, what I ended up saying was, I like Thanos' movie, I like Infinity War, this is going to be talked about in like media films and stuff in the future, for one simple reason. The movie is played from Thanos' perspective. If you look at like the average hero movie, the hero's journey is this very specific plotline, right? Thanos, this whole film is Thanos' hero's journey, which is uncommon for a writer to do for a villain character. But it makes sense, because at that point, the MCU had so many heroes. There's no way to have a 2 to 3 hour film with like 50 heroes in it. There's just no way. It's impossible to do. You cannot focus on all these characters that have been main characters for years. People want to see them. They want to respect them as main characters, but you can't. Nobody can. Making a movie like that would be like 20 minutes long. Not 20 minutes long. 20 hours long. Sorry. Anyway. But no. They did this. The director did this excellent strategy of the movie is told from Thanos' adventure. So Thanos goes here, causes conflict. Goes here, causes conflict. Goes here. And I'm like, that was just so well done. And we get to see all those characters in the process of that. And then you get to the end, and he finishes his hero's journey. He completes his goal. He does the thing, but instead of the good thing, he's the villain, so it's the bad thing. And then the movie just ends. And I'm like, he sits down, he looks at the sunset, he takes his deep breath, and it's like, boom, that's the film. That's insane. But that's how you do that. That's excellent director. I'm like, okay, this is what I mean. This is a quality movie. This will be talked about. In the same way that I say Spider-Verse will be talked about. These are things that will be talked about for generations because they set the tone for a new way, a new version of how to tell stories. And I think that's excellent. I do. Amon made this whole point about non-vendors only for it to never be brought up again after season 1. Yeah, I thought that was weird. I think... See, this is the problem with Korra. Like, as much as I love Korra, it touched on way too many deep topics at one time. Like, Kuvera, Amon, like, all these different characters, like, they all have extremely complex and intricate ideals. And Korra trying to, like, squeeze all of these very complex ideas into one season for each one, it's like, it's way too, it's too fast. It's too much. You know, the pacing for it, I guess there's no real easy way to pace things nowadays. Because you either have anime that move too slow, right? Like, older anime, like how people feel about, like, One Piece and Bleach and stuff. And then you have newer anime that move way too fast, like Black Clover. Like, Black Clover is always on speed. You have one episode for the heroes to relax after a major conflict. Boom, back into the fray. Asked to get in there. It's time to save the world again. It's like, yeah, there's just no balance to it. So maybe I'm wrong to say this, but like, I feel like Korra's biggest thing, there's nothing wrong with the different messages and questions that it wants to ask and portray, but it doesn't have the time to really go into each of these questions that it's trying to present. And it just kind of feels a little cheap because Korra doesn't always get to like tango with these concepts in the way they were hoping for, right? Whereas like Aang, because Aang's sole focus, no matter what happened, the big bad, the main guy, the sole focus from the beginning to the end was always the Fire Lord. His story, he had a lot of time to kind of progress into that. So when you finally saw the final arc and he did his thing with the Ozai and he's like, no, I'm just going to take it from you. Everything felt so good because it like converged at that point. Like finally, all of this journey has led to that point. Whereas like Korra's is kind of treated more like modern day animation where it's like conflict here, boom, conflict here, boom, conflict here. And they're all good ideas, or they just don't get the time they deserve. And I feel like a lot of new media do, like a lot of new shows do that now, where they don't really give the time for certain things, you know? Korra was written season after season without having an end in mind. Really? That's a shame. You can definitely feel that though. Because I feel like when you're switching too many topics too much, not having an end in mind is a lot more obvious. For like, when there's this big overarching goal, it's very clear that there's an end supposed to happen here. So that's how, I mean, that's not always a bad thing. That's how I felt about Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is a very good story, has a hard power system to the point. Hunter x Hunter's power system is so hard that you can literally crunch numbers in different matchups for how certain things in their power system work. And it's such a well done power system. I would argue most anime either copy it, make a variation of it, or they have a parallel power system to it. Like, I think every show I've ever seen has borrowed something from Hunter x Hunter at this point because of the way Nin as a system is built. It's just so cleanly built. It is like fine-tuned to be as good as it is. And I think the only like thing that Nin has that most people don't like copying from it is its like trade-off ability, where it's like the stronger your ability is determined by the risk that you give your power. So like, just to give like Kurapika, right? Because his power is only made to kill spiders, it's very potent. Whereas like if it was just made to be a normal power, it wouldn't be that strong, right? Like the power scaling of an ability is based on the restrictions that you give said power. Which is very interesting because even though a lot of shows or people don't think it, giving weaknesses, giving restrictions actually make a story in a power system way more fun, way more interesting, you know? Hiatus is awesome for pure adventure. Oh yeah, this is like that, isn't it? You think Ozai ending wasn't super good, but they wrote themselves into a corner? Yeah, no, that's true. So when I say good, right, I say it felt good to watch. Like, what I liked about the Ozai thing is, you have Aang as a character, right? He goes through all these traumatic things. He goes through all these different experiences. He goes through basically learning what it is to be an air nomad his entire life, into having to learn what it means to be the Avatar, even though he rejected it, and then having to learn what it means to be a savior to the people today and have the hopes of people placed on your back, right? So all that's like really heavy for him, and he's like lugging it around, and he doesn't know what to do with it. And when we get to the end, he stays true to his character by at the end of the day, everybody kept telling him, you're gonna have to kill him, you're gonna have to kill him, you're gonna have to kill him. And then he chose to do it his way. He found a new way. Even though it's something you could say, oh, it was a Dex Machina, right? Like, the Avatar is the only character that can do that. We didn't know it could do that, but again, Avatar is a soft system, so you kind of can't argue with it, because it's like, there was no way for us to know that the Avatar could do that, right? We don't have a rule list to say this is what the Avatar can do. We just know it can do a lot of OP stuff. So having him do that was kind of like, wow, I'm really happy that Aang got to stay true to who makes, like, this is who he believes he is. He got to stay true to his ideals. It's like that one opening of My Hero where, like, the singer's like, I keep my ideals with me, and then he just goes crazy. Yeah. Like, I think it's really important for a character to stay true to themselves, even if they decide to switch teams. Because there's this really old TV show that's extremely good called Heroes, where Heroes is the story, another human condition story, who would have thought, but it's a story where the characters, good side, bad side, all the characters in this story switch teams at some point. A lot of them betray their ideals to become evil at some point, a lot of them betray their ideals to become good, but it's a very, like, back and forth story. And some people like that, but I kind of prefer when characters stay true to who they are. You know what I mean? Like, I think that makes for an overall better plot, because it's kind of like, I get to see who you believe you are, who you actually are, and who you want to be. And the plot is able to play with these three ideas and manifest, like, all the choices that you make. So when you get to the end of a story, it's like, oh wow, that's so them. That's so them. And again, I'm gonna bring out One Piece one more time here, but even like looking at the way Oda structures Luffy as a character, right? When I go back to what I was saying before, where I think all characters in One Piece are fighting for, like, what they believe is freedom, or like their sense of freedom. Luffy, every encounter he's ever had, it's always been about freedom. Anything that he's upset about, it's because somebody's freedom was taken away from them or was decided for them. And he doesn't believe in that. So when you get to something like, Gear 5 is not really a spoiler anymore because everybody knew about it. Even I knew about it, and I dodged spoilers religiously. But when I saw it for the first time, I knew what it was, I just didn't know what it could do, right? But like, Gear 5, the one thing that shocked the entire world about it is, like, he powered up off of joy. And I'm like, that's the kind of storytelling I like. Where every anime character for generations has always gotten angry about something. And once they get angry, they level up to the next level. But Luffy didn't do that this time. He was happy, and his joy brought him to the next level. And I'm like, that is so important. Like, that, like, reinvents the wheel. Because when you think about the power that Gear 5 has, that's what Luffy would have. It makes so much sense. That's so him. And I think that's what you want to have in a story. You want the story to be compelling and interesting. You do want characters to make hard decisions and have hard questions put in front of them. But at the end of the day, I think you definitely want the character to stay true to who they are. Because that's what makes that part of the story, like, interesting to watch. I know this character is morally against doing this thing. So watching this conflict surround them, how do they handle that with their morals, right? I think that's, like, massive. Thank you for the follow, Mobio. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm just yapping today. I know. I do other things. You'll see other things in the future. I play games. Yes, I have lots of VODs on other platforms, and well, Twitch. Twitch did that whole thing recently where they literally deleted, like, almost everything. That's not my fault. They deleted a bunch of, like, videos I had because they were mad at all the streamers. They're like, hey, we're hosting way too many hours of your content, okay? Delete this crap. I never chose, so it just deleted stuff automatically for me. But I appreciate you. I don't have VR redeems right now, But you know, you can have fun with some other stuff, and then when I'm doing normal streams with my 2D VR model, you'll be able to actually use those current redeems. But, anyway, so yeah, it's like there are so many different ways to watch a character grow, and I feel like at least with so much like media we're used to, characters grow in such traditional ways, right? So I think Aang doing what he did with Ozai was one of those rare occasions where like we got to watch a character grow in a way that did not betray their ideals. Very cool. Very cool. You love to see it, right? That's what we want. That's what we want. I think that makes for the best storytelling, even if we don't agree with the character in the end, you know? Like, I know a lot of people feel certain ways about, like, My Hero, right? And I'm not going to talk about My Hero either, but what I will say about it is, like, people don't like how it ended, but when you think about Deku as a character, everything Deku's ever done has always been, like, he does not care about himself, he will always save the people first. And even though Horikoshi comments on that a lot in My Hero, is like how this mentality that heroes have is like a sickness, right? Like you have heroes that are here for fame, here for money, here for power. Those are the people that get hunted by Stain, right? Because Stain is a person that believes in like a true hero should be like this. If you're not like All Might or Deku, you're not a true hero. I want to destroy you because you do not fit the model of what a hero should be. You are not hero society. So that villain goes out of his way as the hero killer to kill people who he believes that are not proper heroes. And for those of you who have seen Vigilante, I didn't watch the anime yet, but the manga talks about this. Yeah, Stain used to be a vigilante, right? So him being a vigilante, doing what he thought was justice, at some point in his life he changed and he's like, okay, it's more important to stop bad people from saving people for clout than to save people and break the law to do so. He'd rather break the law by putting fake heroes down at some point. So it makes sense, you know? Oh, yeah, but Ozai ended betraying the audience expectations. The ending should have been foreshadowed, a surprise, and totally obvious in hindsight. Yeah, I mean, okay, so Ozai specifically as a character, right? I think that could have been done way better. But I also feel like Ozai, this is the problem with like saying that. Yes, Ozai betrayed expectations, but then it's also like, what did we expect of Ozai, right? We've only seen like 4 scenes of this dude in the beginning, where it's just him like fire breathing all heavy with like this shadow on him, right? We've seen him like once be like, "Fool, you shall perish," and kick his son out of the palace. Like, we really don't get enough screen time with him before that to like kind of understand what kind of person he is. So when he takes so many cowardly like ways out in the end, it made sense, because it's like we learned that, oh, the Avatar is actually something he's terrified of. He's a coward, but he does still think of himself as like the king, right? So him taking advantage of the solstice and everything, this is him being an opportunist, but he's actually not like a good guy. Like, if you've ever seen, what's that movie with Samuel L. Jackson? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's the spy movie. It's that one. I don't know what it's called. Why? It's such a good film. Okay. Anyway, there's a spy movie where all the spies in that film are like super finesse, super cool. Samuel Jackson's like the main villain of that film, right? But the guy Samuel plays is hilarious. The dude's an absolute coward. He doesn't like blood. He doesn't like murder, but he encourages all these things for his gain. And he has like henchmen that go do all the killing for him. And it's like he wants his life, he wants the world that he wants to happen. But the way he wants to go about it is to keep his hands clean of it, right? And that's just kind of because he himself does not like those things. But he understands it as like a necessary evil as a supervillain to get what he wants. So he does all these things. And I feel like Ozai was in a very similar position where like he does all these super cool and evil things because he just doesn't value like human life outside of himself. But I think that's more of an internal conflict with Ozai than anything. But I also think he's not a super complex written character either. I just don't think they did a lot for him. I'm not saying more cameos of him would have made it better or more understandable. I just feel like the problem is I don't know who the Fire Lord is. I don't know what to expect from him. all I know is he's like a boogeyman that needs to be taken out, right? Like that's all we really learned about him. Oh no, advertisement jail, no, my entire point is gone. Oh, that's crazy. Well, okay, you can probably watch it back on YouTube, to be honest. Like, I didn't talk about it that long. It was like, what, 10 seconds or something? But, no, it wasn't 10 seconds. More like 20. But, yeah. So, I think that's the core issue, is like, who is Ozai? And by the time we find out, you know, the story is almost over now. It's kind of too late for us to feel like super strongly about, like, okay, well, I wanted him to be like this. It's like, yeah, but he wasn't. Even in the end, where like they rushed the palace, Azula's like the only one there. The entire palace was gone. He could be like, yeah, well, they planned this super attack. If Ozai was actually what the boogeyman stories in the beginning of the plot was explaining to us, this is who Ozai is, he would have stayed. He would have just stayed there and been like, you can't take out my palace. But instead, they play the strategic retreat. And yeah, that shows me the kind of leader that Ozai is. And we know this because really basic stories that have like basic characters like Ozai, like for example, you look at Fire Emblem Engage, right? I think Fire Emblem Engage, yes, I haven't finished 3 houses, we'll get to that in a minute. But Fire Emblem Engage is one of the best Fire Emblem stories to exist, I personally believe. There's a lot of basic characters in it, and there's a lot of basic character tropes in it. But what I like about Engage is it takes tropes and it subverts expectations really well. But then there are some times where it lets tropes happen intentionally. So like you have this guy, right, King Morion. So if you're playing that game, just skip this this part now. But like 3 minutes from now, right? But King Morion is a very basic like guy. He's literally the king of a nation called Brodia, right? Brodia. So King Morion's thing is like every problem is hammer and nail, hammer and nail. That's how he lives his life. For a character that actually thinks that they are like the stuff, like this, like I'm the big kahuna, for characters like that, like Ozai was presented to us in the beginning, they don't run. King Morion literally sat there and was like, oh, they're attacking my nation. And he ran to the front lines on his own. Did he get washed? Absolutely. He got destroyed. But the point is, like, characters like that do not run. Ever. They always, like, dive deep. And they're like, what you think you're doing here, kid? Like, Brodia was actually... they were in a war with a different country in that game. Not because that country did anything to them. The king literally said, oh, I acknowledge that your country and your nation is really OP. So we just started fighting you because you're OP. And it's like, wait, so you're fighting us for no reason? It's like, no, you might try to kill us one day, so we'll kill you first. Sound logic there, friend. The characters like that are, yeah, they don't run away from conflict ever. Azula was a super good villain. Azula was. I think everything Ozai was supposed to be was Azula. And that's what made Azula's character so freaking interesting in the end. Because when her father rejected her, and when she started getting rejected by other people that she found validation in, Azula was like, this is the character that I think Ozai wants to be, and he can't be. And Azula wants to be like her dad, not realizing her dad is actually not this heartless machine that she's trying to be. Because she's trying to be like him, but he's just a coward, right? But she doesn't know that. So she's trying to be like him, and it's kind of like that moment where Iroh's like, yo, she's crazy. We gotta put her down. Why is she crazy? She's crazy because she believes in an ideal that is her father, but she's become something even her father isn't. And that's quite interesting as like a plot device, but it's also kind of scary. Because like she actually became the heartless monster, whereas Ozai is like, he isn't the heartless monster himself, he just doesn't care about things. I guess you could say he's heartless because of that. But it's more like, if I don't ever have to face any of my consequences, why would I ever feel anything? My heart is never in question. I never see it. I just tell you to go murder a nation, you murder a nation. It's over. Like, I sit in my room, I sit in my bunker, it's whatever it is, right? So, I can easily see that. But there's a lot to say. There's a channel I like called, I think it's called The Future Me. Check him out. Shout out to him. He makes so many complex videos on Avatar and different theories and stuff. Oh, it's Hello Future Me. Yeah. Look him up. Look him up genuinely. Even like look him up right now. He makes a lot of like theorycraft story videos, but Avatar is like his bread and butter. Like he talks, most of his topics are about Avatar, and it's really good. And they're not just like, oh, like anime science or anything like that. Like he genuinely is diving into like story elements and concepts and strategies of storytelling. Like it's amazing. As you can tell, I'm a story nerd, I'm an art nerd. Today is like the nerdy stream. I'm just going through like everything that I like and just yapping about it. But yeah, it's good. It's good. So it's very important, I feel, to have these moments where like I can appreciate these characters because their ideals mean so much to them. Like I think that's when the best characters are created. They have ways that they want to do something, but even when they betray their ideals, like, you know, going dark mode in Hunter, right? Like, betraying your ideals is important for stories too, because it shows you like this character is truly fallen from grace, and it's like sad to see, but that can also create a very interesting story. But as most of you cultured people know, my favorite story, is the 100. Favorite story of all time, period. It's another human condition story. As you can see, I have a problem with watching too many of these. I love human condition stories because I think they do a really good job. What I don't love is watching a story not knowing it's not one of those. If I get jump scared by a human condition story, I actually get upset. That's what happened with To Be a Hero X. Oh my gosh, I was so livid. I thought I was watching this really cool show, and then it did me like that. It just started beating on my mental, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so angry right now. Oh my gosh, I'm so angry. But when I know it's coming, I'm okay with it. 100, I love the 100 for two reasons. Number one, every season is mostly self-contained, but the way the story functions, I don't really know how to explain it. It changes every time, so it always feels like a fresh story, but the characters and conflicts are always the same. It's just this season, like I'll give you one spoiler, right? If I told you that season 1 was about like kids getting sent down to a dystopian Earth and trying to like reform humanity now that humanity can live on the Earth again, right? I'm not even going to give you context for that. And then I tell you, in a later season, we have people that snatch bodies. You can be like, what the F are you talking about? What do you mean snatch bodies? Yes, they take your body. It's theirs now. Should have had a better body, but you know, like, you lose your body. Like someone's pushing your consciousness out of your head and replacing you. That kind of body snatching. The two ideas don't even make sense. You're like, how did we get from point A to point B? But this is the thing. Every season has one of those things that is like its major focus for that season. And I'm like, it's just so good. The 100 is so effing good. Quality TV. And I love the way it ends because much like we talk about these main characters that don't betray their ideals, the main character, Clark, at the very end where it mattered the most, she did not betray her ideals, and she was dramatically punished for it. And I think this story did such an excellent job of making her live with that. Such an excellent job. When I say punished for it, I mean like she got an actual, like, how do I say this? She went through something and she realized what she did wrong, and now she has to live with that. Like, you know how like you watched like Last of Us 2 or you played Last of Us 2 and Ellie lost everything at the end, right? It's like Ellie lost everything, but do I think she lived with that? I'm not really sure. Because I feel like by the time Ellie decided to go on her journey and do all these wacky things, I feel like at that point she had already known she lost everything. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she threw it away more than feeling the pain of it all. You know what I mean? That one about the children from space? Yes, no. It's about the children from space. Do not play with me though. If you tell me you want to watch it, we're going through all of it. We're watching every episode. It's so freaking good. It is, okay, I know most of you know I'm not a fan of rewatching things. The only time I ever rewatch something even stuff I like. The only time I ever rewatch something is if I'm showing it to someone else, right? That to me makes sense because you want to give somebody that like first-hand experience, and you kind of want to feel it from the second-hand view, right? Like you want to feel what they're feeling because it gives you that nostalgia for how you felt. But man, the 100, I've watched the 100 like 3 times. I will listen. I will personally sit down and marathon this show with everybody, with anyone. It's just so good. It's just so good. I'll say this: season 1 starts off with a little bit of that high school energy because that's just how TV was at the time. Season 2, boom, they kick right into what that story is about. No games. They're going in super deep. And then the story just goes. So out of the TV, like human TV, I guess you could say I enjoy, The 100 is like my number 1 show. It's usually on Netflix. The second show that I would put in like the second place, right? I wouldn't say this is like my second favorite show of all time, by the way. This is just a like, anytime I have somebody watch The 100, I usually follow up with, we'll watch The Magicians after we watch The 100. The Magicians, I thought I was going to watch Hogwarts. The Magicians is completely different. The Magicians is like, what would real life be like with magic in the modern day? Not like, oh, we have wizard classes and this and that and third. It's like, no. The universe that we exist in, this is how magic influences it. So one of the funniest jokes from The Magicians, in my opinion, because it's extremely realistic in how it portrays like what magic can do and what it can't do, right? But the whole point of like the early seasons is like magic cannot solve human problems, which is true. Problems are problems no matter who you are. But the way it goes about it, there's this character that has a smartphone, and their smartphone like disconnects, and it really upsets them. And then the character that's like talking to them is like, "What are you so mad about?" They're like, "Dude, my smartphone stopped working. I just gave it a charge and everything." It's like, "Well, yeah, it stopped working. Like, you know, the magic that like runs it just went out or whatever." And then you're sitting there thinking to yourself, you're like, "What?" But the way the show explains it is like, do you honestly believe that a human could come up with the technology to make a phone that could traverse and like talk to anybody from any place in the world? Are you ridiculous? That's not technology, that's magic. Don't be stupid. But when you think about it, technology and magic are low-key kind of the same. When you think about real life, isn't magic just things we don't understand? Like, isn't that like the definition of magic in some ways? Or like technology or like any form of advancement that we don't understand. Even from the beginning of time for how humans usually did things, right? Magic is anything that you don't get. I don't know why the sun turns into the moon at night. Must be effing magic. Must be a god that did that, right? Like humans have always tried to justify something. And like The Magicians is so good at like integrating magic into everyday life and making it so compelling. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, you only watched 3 seasons from The 100? Oh, we got it. We gotta go in there. We gotta go in there and finish that for you. And you're already 3 seasons in? Oh my gosh, let's go. Let's go. That's so good. That's so good. ReZero, okay. I watched ReZero for somebody else. But here's the thing that's funny about ReZero for me. I feel like season 1 of ReZero is like really underwhelming once you watch the next season. ReZero's in an interesting place. There are some stories I feel like when I rewatch this, I see like all these things are revealed to me and I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. But then there are some stories where it's like I rewatch this, but I feel like it's underwhelming now that I know this, this, and this, right? But sometimes that's kind of the point. Like the whole point of it is there's a build up and you see everything kind of come together. But if I had to give eggs on anything for ReZero, season 2 is actually my favorite season right now. Season 3, it wasn't bad. I did love season 3, but I loved season 3 for different reasons. I feel like the fruits of all the main characters' labor in season 1 and in season 2 finally come together in season 3, and I get to watch him grow. And I'm like, yeah, I really like watching him grow. That was cool. He grew a lot more than he did in season 1 and in season 2, but in season 3, and that's just because season 3, he's like finally the person he had always pretended to be. And I thought that was cool, because the entire season I was expecting him to use Return by Death to solve problems, and it just felt like he didn't. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like, I vibes with that. I vibe with that. I do. Because, I mean, when you think about it, as a character who is so cowardly, you would expect him. Yeah, in the beginning, he really didn't like the whole death thing. But then, it's like, dying is what he was afraid of because he was a coward, right? But once he, like, got used to how the power worked, he started leaning into it all the time. And that's kind of like, because he leans into it, this is what makes him a coward now. It's quite interesting how, like, it flipped. But even though that happened, it's kind of like, okay, I can respect him way more in season 3 because he's kind of grown out of that cowardice, and everything in season 3 feels really important because things don't reset as much. So it's like when he gives speeches and he like talks to people and he tells people, I believe in you, like, have my back and stuff, it hits way different now because, like, he's gonna stick to it. You know, he's gonna stick to it this time. He's not gonna give up. He's not gonna quit. He's not gonna take the easy way out, right? Like, I love that. I love that for him. I'm like, go King. You're doing it. You're killing it. Like, that's so impactful, I feel like. And even the way, like, Emilia is in season 3, like, she has full faith that her man's got it. And I also think that's cool. Like, I know season 2 played with that idea a little bit, but Roswell was such a wild boy in that season. Like, how do we really know? How do we really know? But yeah, the 100, highly recommend. Y'all know how much of a story nerd and art nerd I am, so, like, I'll just put it to you like this. If I'm saying this is my favorite story, it's earned that for a reason. It's absolutely earned that for a reason. But yeah, I just think the 100 is pure, like, peak film. Now, don't get me wrong, the Magicians is also really good, but if I had to tell you to pick one, it would have been the 100. The Magicians, I'm like, yeah, you definitely want to pick the Magicians if you want, like, a really good story. A really good story that, like, does a lot of similar things, but obviously it's a very different story as well, right? And I've watched a lot of TV and Netflix in my time, but if we want to talk about anime, I mean, there's the obvious favorite anime, right? Ranma, duh. Like, it makes complete sense. Like, what did you expect? Did you expect me to be creative or something? What do you mean I'm talking about creativity for 3 hours and I'm not creative? Don't worry about it. But anyway, obviously that's anime number 1. But I think it's more important to not talk about anime that I think is my favorite personally. I should talk about anime that I think is actually objectively the best anime. I would actually say it's a lot easier to break them down into categories, right? So, like, I'll say if I'm talking about a shonen, I think Black Clover is the best shonen right now. I do. The reason is, even though I think, like, personally I like a lot of other shonen better, everything that people want from a shonen, the fights, the pacing, the team combos, the teamwork, the camaraderie, everything that a shonen is supposed to do, Black Clover does that thing. It just does it at a way that modern day viewers can appreciate because the pacing is quick. Black Clover doesn't waste time. It doesn't put in filler. It just goes. And I'm like, yeah. To your average viewer today, I think Black Clover is just objectively the best shonen you could have. Then, obviously, adventure stories go to One Piece. Yes, Hunter x Hunter is great. I understand that. But One Piece is, like, the one thing I will say I've always loved about One Piece, even when I was watching it from, like, the beginning to now, the anime always upgrades with the era. Like, it started in 19 whatever, it felt like it was from 19 whatever. And then with the next era, the animation, everything about the story, the way the story was being told, elevated with it. And then it did it again, and then it did it again, and then it did it again. And now that we're at Egghead, oh my gosh, it feels like a modern day anime, despite being old. And I just, somehow One Piece stays up with the times. I don't know how they do it, because you watch stuff like Bleach. Bleach came back, right? But let's be honest, Bleach still feels like the old story that it is. It still feels that way. Like, it's just what it is. It's just how it is. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, there's just nothing wrong with these things necessarily, but hi, Lumi. Sorry, I just noticed. I wanted to watch the remake, but they censored all the nipples. What, an anime? Oh, stop. Ranma's a great show. It's fine. You don't need the nipple censors or unnipple censors. I watched the remake. It was good. It didn't have enough in it for me personally. I think there were some moments where like scenes could have been stronger if they were more like the old ones. But if I had to give it a proper grade for like how good is this remake, I'll give it an A. I'll give it an A. It doesn't get the S tier from me, but it gets an A. Even though S is not supposed to be before. You get the point. Anyway, it got a solid A for me. I enjoyed it. I appreciated it. I was like, yeah, that's my show. Ranma's doing the Ranma. That's cool. Even there are some things as far as the gender dynamics, because for those of you that are on Patreon, you've probably seen my video that I took down from YouTube, which is about Ranma and how I was excited for the remake to come. I never actually made that video on my current opinion, so I'm kind of giving it now here. The gender dynamics of today, right, and how people see gender today, and how Ranma is now, I feel like there were a lot of scenes where they did a really good job of staying religiously true to who Ranma is as a character. Where like, Ranma doesn't want to do this thing because they think it's gay, or Ranma doesn't want to do this thing because he wants to be respected as a man, or Ranma does this thing because he feels like being a woman is this way, right? But like, I think they did an okay job with most of those things. There were some times where Ranma's in a situation, and I feel like, okay, they maybe played up here a little too much of how he felt on this thing, or like in the original, he might have felt really embarrassed by something because he was kissed as a boy in a girl's body, right? But in the way it's portrayed today, right, it felt like most of the embarrassment came because it was his first kiss, not because of like the gender dynamic that he had put on himself from like his early sexist point of view. But like, this is the thing, right? You have early characters and stories that have flaws. It's kind of like how in Avatar, a lot of people didn't like Sokka early because he was sexist, but the whole point of Sokka being sexist is that he grows out of that. And then he learns how to fight from women. These women teach him. He gets a girlfriend. Everything about his life kind of came from the Kyoshi warriors. But in order for that to happen, he had to learn and grow past those sexist views. So like, having characters with flaws in the beginning is important so that they can actually grow in a meaningful way. And one of the things I feel like Ranma as a character had always struggled with was this idea of like being a woman at all, right? Because to him, it's like, for him to not be, you know, gay or like sexualized, or he's fighting against all these different things of like, now that he is a woman, he has to worry about being sexualized in some aspects, right? He has to worry about like certain characters crushing on him, or certain characters trying to like perv on him and stuff like that, and that's really awkward for him to deal with. So in a lot of like the old story, right, he doesn't deal with them at all. Like, somebody's being a creep, he just like beats them up for it, right? Like, that was his response for most things. But later in the later seasons, he starts to embrace being a woman a bit more. He starts to dress different. There are moments where he even plays like a seductive card to get something he wants. Like, he gets a lot more comfortable in his skin of like, I am Ranma as two genders and not just like one, right? So I feel like the remake plays with those ideas a little bit, but they don't really embody the core super hard yet, you know? Suki was goated? Yeah, Suki was goated. Are you talking about that one anime where the dude turns to a girl every time, like the body swap thing? Yes, I am. So, Ranma, if you don't know, that's my favorite anime, right? But I grew up with it, so there's a lot of nostalgia there. But yeah, no, I'm just talking about like how he is as a character and like how he changed over time. And I just feel like I don't know if the remake's going to go there. I'm still very curious to how they're going to structure these things. But I think so far the remake's been good. They've been pretty good about Akane's attentions though. Like, Akane still feels very much like the same character to me, which I think is very nice. And so does Ryoga. Ryoga feels pretty religious too right now, so I'm satisfied with the remake. I do wish Genma had more scenes right now, and you know, some of the other characters, but it's cool. I can wait. I hope it comes back though. I like seeing my favorite stuff come up. I just, you know, I don't hate on things until the animators do it dirty, right? So like, I love Seven Deadly Sins. Great anime. Once A1 lost the rights to animate it and that other studio that we shall not name picked it up, Nope. All y'all gotta go read that story now. The anime is shot. Season 3 is shot. Don't even bother. Don't look at it. It's not real. Doesn't exist. Season what? I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. You know? Directors, anime studio directors can either make or break a story. It's true. If you ever watch Oshinoko, they have an episode where they talk about this and how one of the main characters makes a manga. They were very disappointed about it. I was just talking about seeing that anime yesterday. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm just sitting here talking about like my different interests and stuff right now because if you don't know, I have full body tracking right now in VR, right? So I can do all this complex stuff. Yeah. I'm just messing around with it though. I haven't really done too much. Whenever I get like, I guess more consistency, because like right now, I can move the hips, yeah, but I feel like it's not as consistent as I want it to be. But once I get like, maybe find a way to make things more stable, then I'll probably go and try my hand at those dancing streams I keep promising y'all, but you know, it is what it is right now. So, yeah, anyway, back to the point. There's a lot of like really cool things that some of these stories do, and I appreciated that remake for that. But if I'm gonna go back to like talking about what I think the best anime is, right? And if I just don't even talk about the genres, like let's throw the genres out the window because yes, in genre these certain things are the best in my opinion. But if we talk about anime as a whole, like out of the entire medium, everything that I've personally seen, right? I've watched a lot of anime. Obviously, I can't speak for everything that exists, so like, you can't sue me for an opinion. This is the truth, right? Well, you can, but I'm not like that Jones guy. So anyway, listen. I think objectively speaking, I have to give it to Vinland Saga. I do. Vinland Saga is not even my favorite story. I don't even know if I'd put it in my top 10. But what I'll say about Vinland Saga, I'll say a couple things. Because I used to think it was edgy boy content at first, and then after like actually seriously watching the rest of it, because I prejudged it when Thorfinn was just angry, screaming. It's kind of like how a lot of people felt about Black Clover in the beginning, right? Black Clover, Asta was just screaming all the time. It was so painful. It was so painful. Oh, what are you playing VR? This is VRChat, if you can't tell. Yeah. But yeah, so Asta and Thorfinn have the same problem in my opinion. Thorfinn did have more of a reason to scream, I'll give you that. But it just felt like I didn't really like Thorfinn in the beginning, but this is how the writer got me. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. We have to stop normalizing main characters that are likable, because sometimes they're not. Subaru, right, in the beginning of ReZero, he's not likable either. That's the point of the story, is that the main character is not likable and they need to develop. So, season 1 was super excellent. The main driver as a character for season 1 is Askeladd, of course, right? But the way Askeladd as a character is like developing around with the world and how Thorfinn responds to him, there's just so much about Vinland Saga that's done right. Like the methods of storytelling, the environment, the way the story is like structured, right? Timeline, pacing, music, everything about it is really, really top quality. And then you get to season 2. Season 2 changes the game so hard. Because they take a normal battle shonen and they take out most of the fighting. And you're thinking to myself, what am I watching a shonen for if not the epic fights, right? Here's the thing though. Every shonen isn't about fighting. You have things like Dr. Stone, where you're not fighting against people, you're fighting with science, usually, right? You're fighting against the laws of human nature, you're fighting against the laws of, like, the world, you're fighting against the planet sometimes, and also you're fighting people. And Dr. Stone is so interesting because Senku uses science as his weapon to overcome these different challenges. Then you have things like Food Wars, where, like, Soma, as a chef, it is a shonen because he is doing the shonen thing, but he's doing it through his talents of cuisine and knowledge and his like ability to cook. So like every shonen is not I punch you, right? And what I liked about season 2 of Vinland Saga is they did an extremely good job of portraying this in different ways, while also watching us watch a character realize his flaws and mistakes and want to change. Not want to change as in, oh man, I killed that guy, I didn't want to kill that guy, I want to be a better person by not killing guys. No, like, he actually wants change. He wants change for himself, for the people around him, for the world. And it's like impossible because of the place that he exists in, the world he exists in. You're like, how is he going to do this? But that's why it's so interesting. How is he going to do this? How is he going to be a pacifist, right? In the era of Vikings. Doesn't even make sense saying it. It doesn't even make sense. Hi, Ease. It's a pleasure to see you. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you too. Yeah, I can tell I recently started playing this game myself. That's cool, Lumi. That's cool. VRChat's really awesome. I think what happens is a lot of people just end up going to like a whack world or a public, and then they run into people that are like actually insane. So they don't like it all the time. But I think VRChat's actually really cool. Especially when you're in different communities and groups that are like, people are really cool, people are really good to you, you know, like I think you're in the right places. The game treats you quite well, I would say. But obviously it's based on people, right? So like your experiences with people, who you meet, who you talk to, all of this kind of shapes how you feel about the game. But yeah, congrats on your VR adventure. It's very good. Meow, people are definitely crazy in public. Hey, hi Kayla. No, it's so true. It's so true. It's such a thing. Yeah, there are a lot of people in here that every time I enter a world and automatically kick me out. But then you get some really chill place to hang out. Listen, I got kicked out because a friend was making fun of me one time. I literally went to a different world, ran into a public. They ran after me and were like, nerd, nerd, nerd. And then they told some kid to shut up when they were like making fun of me. And then they kicked me. They kicked me. Me. Why not the friend? They just kirked out an entire child. But no, you kick me. Oh, come on. This is why I can't be doing it. It's okay. I only go to places where we can find adults anyway. It's fine. YouTube chat still not corrected. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Ease. Like, I try so hard. I don't know what it is. Look, if any of you just happen to be technical geniuses for no apparent reason, and you would like to help little old foxes figure things out, I am open to that. I am, okay? I am. Sundays and Saturdays are my busy days for the most part, but anytime like during the week, I can like squeeze in some hours to get that done, okay? Because I was using Botrix before. Botrix was a free program that all it needed you to do was connect your accounts and it would work. It would work. It was fine. And then one day, when I made the new YouTube channel, you want to know what Botrix told me? You want to know what it told me? It said, that's not your YouTube channel. I said, yes, it is. I said, yes, it is. I got rid of this one. I disconnected the old one. I said, this is my new channel. And it said, no, it's not. So I looked at it. And me and Botrix had this conversation. And then it just said, F you, I'm not doing it. And then I was like, okay. Do I need to call somebody? Do I need to call like a help desk? And then that's when you realize, oh, this is one of those programs where like there's no help desk or whatever. There's no way to like email a person. Like, you want to know something that's effed up? Even though I have tracking now, I'm going to tell you something that's messed up, okay? Here's what's messed up. I like the people that make slimes. They're cool peeps and all. But now I got to expose them. I got to expose them because this is serious. This is serious business now. We're not playing any games anymore. They told me, okay, long story. I got trackers. When I purchased them, the full body pack was 7 trackers plus extensions, right? Cool. I have tracking now. Very cool. Get it. I get it. Then, as soon as I saw mine come in the mail, and it said, hey, your trackers are coming in the mail this week, right? This is months after that purchase, by the way. I see it. They said, hey, full body set for the exact same price is now 8 trackers. Would you look at that? 8 trackers? Really? Really? Oh, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. How generous. How generous, friends. So, I sent that email and I said, hello, slime developers. I appreciate you for all your hard work. May I please have that extra tracker that, technically speaking, I would have paid for if I was only a couple days after hitting the button, right? Now I get what you're thinking. Well, you hit the button too early, that's your own fault. I understand that. But from a customer satisfaction perspective, no Karens, right? No Karens. I just feel like it wouldn't be too out of the... It's pretty reasonable to assume like, hey, things changed. Yes, I understand, but I'm not asking for a refund. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not even asking to be like sent back $10, $20 or whatever. I'm just asking for a single tracker to, uninconvenience the inconvenienced fox. That's it. That's it. And you know what that email said? I'll read it to you verbatim. They said this: sorry, Ranma, can't do that. Psych, just F me, I guess. Like, whatever. They didn't even entertain the idea. Insanity. Insanity. Come on. What do I have to do to get something around here? Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I was just like, okay, they don't care, they don't, not user experience, right? What about the user experience? What about it? That's kind of what it was like. They were just like, what about it, I'm like, okay, if you feel what about it, I guess I also need to feel what about it too. Sure. So, I'm not trying to be that person, but I do feel like I got here a little bit. Now, I have an extra tracker that does literally absolutely nothing. It's over there. And I don't know, what am I going to do with it? I'm not going to put it on my forehead. I'm not going to put it on like my arm so I can have like full body tracking plus one arm. Like, what are we doing? Like, yes, this one elbow just needs to have that like dynamic elbow grease going. Like, there's nothing for me to do with it. I literally have this extra tracker now. The only thing I can do at this point is bingo, business model success. Buy another tracker. Oh man, they got me good. Hydrate. Okay, I appreciate the head pats. I do. Making me drink water in VR, however, is diabolical. Clearly you just wanted that ASMR. Maybe this, you know what, fine. You'll get it. That's fine. I hope you're proud of yourself. I do. Okay, it felt like I actually needed that. Anyway, but yes, I'm not saying they're wrong. I understand how business works. I do. Okay, I understand you buy thing on X date, so that is thing you get. That's not your intention. Okay, you see, everybody says that, and then they're like, actually, it's fine. That's exactly what I want. Sadly, you must go to the store now. Yes, I appreciate you too, Tar, and I do. It's okay, you can keep me in your pocket as you walk around the store. I learned things through YouTube analytics now that I do videos. Apparently, most of you watch me on your cell phone. Ain't that something? I'm happy to hear that. You want to know why I'm happy to hear that? Because it was years, okay? When I first started streaming, as you can see from the old VODs, they now just got to the point where I got advice from somebody about why having a brown background made no sense for me, right? So I switched it to being a white background. But ever since that moment, I had been working on like my little UI setup, right? So I have chat. Chat's like right here, right? Very nice, very nice. Then up here we have donation bubble and sticker things, right? Very cool, very cool. And then here, we have that open space that I stand in usually where I'm all like, yeah, I'm streaming game from this corner. And then over here we have our like redeems right above chat, right? And then we have our followers down here, and then our subs, little button up here. And I'm like, yeah, I did all this so that phone experience would be nearly perfect. I worked quite hard on this, I assure you. So I love the fact that most people watch from mobile, because the thing is, I feel like a lot of streamers do not optimize for mobile. Here's what they do. They take chat, right? Like, chat is like on the side. Like, this entire wall is just chat right here. Then they stand in front of chat. So they're in this bubble, but it's like a big one. Then they have like this entire area is the stream. It is this tiny rectangle. And then there's just like, I guess, a subscriber chat down here or whatever. But like, nobody wants to be on their phone. And only a quarter of the screen is the actual game. What am I watching for? I can't see anything. But it's like your brain doesn't think about it in the moment. Especially for those of us that watch like ancient anime, right? Like half the screen is cut off anyway because it wasn't made for like that size. But I always thought that was kind of weird when somebody pointed it out to me. They're like, why do you do that? But then when you go on like Etsy and you go on like all these different things like streamer pages and stuff, literally all of it, all of the stuff that's being sold encourage that model. They encourage the mini rectangle model. And I'm like, if somebody's watching me from their phone, shouldn't the entire screen be doing something? And that's kind of why I stream in front of the game now, because the whole screen is the game, the chat's in the cut, I'm in the cut, but you see the game that you're watching me play. Because yes, while you're here for me, and especially today, because I'm just going today, you are also here for the game. Duh. You're not just here for me. You were here for the game. You're here to see me do that stupid no-scope in Zelda against the Guardian and die instantly. That you're here for that also. But I can't show you that because either I'm too big on the screen, or the chat is too big on the screen, or the game itself is too small on the screen, right? Like, these are serious things to think about, and I'm happy I started thinking about them. Yeah, I come across streamers who actually have screens that are that size, 100%. Chat's on the other side, you were mirrored, I think? Oh. Am I mirrored? That's an interesting question. So, okay, here, this is chat, right? Right? Oh, am I mirrored? I think I actually am. Oh, crap. Chatty is here. Hi, Chatty. Yeah, you get the point. You get the point. I don't have to do all that. I don't know why VRChat mirrors me, but you know what? It's whatever. It works. We do it because it works. That's fine. That's cool. That's all vibes. We love it. We love to see it. It's fine. Oh, that's embarrassing. But you get the picture. You get the picture. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that's awful. But look, I say all this to say that like the audience experience, the viewer experience is very important. Okay? Now, when it comes to like my VRChat story videos, I've been trying to get better with those, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I feel like the next one that's gonna come out, or the next two, I feel like English. Nihongo ka. Monida. This is why we gotta switch to that quick Japanese sometimes. English is just, what a tragic language. What a tragic language to work with. Anyway, it's like, there are times where I feel like things just they don't connect a certain way, you know? And I'm like, okay, I sat this way in VR because it was comfortable for me IRL, but in the video it looks kind of whack. But it's a story video, so y'all are probably not even like watching it. Like, I'm probably on your second monitor, which, don't get me wrong, I'm very honored to be second monitor content. I think that's a level up. I'm not gonna lie. People are like, oh, I don't want to be on the second monitor. I'm like, are you serious? Like, do you know how many of us today are just so busy that we're just always doing something else? If I'm playing a game on my first monitor and your second monitor, that's an honor. That is an honor. You're doing great, okay? That's how it should be. You're doing fantastic. Now, if you're in a position where you're a third monitor, you might as well not even be on the screen. And if for some reason that person has more than 3 monitors, forget it. You're not being watched anyway. Nobody's watching you. Like, it's fine. This is how it is. Sorry. This is the truth. You must accept the truth or nothing. That's just how it's going to be, okay? But that's how I feel about it anyway. Like, I would like to be appreciated in that way, but sometimes things happen. That's just how it is. You know, you gotta live with it. It's too bad. It's too bad. But okay, let's see. What are we looking like right now? I feel like next time I actually owe you guys some genuine gameplay. Like, what was I playing last time? I was playing Naraka last time. I don't think some of you made it, but it's okay. I still win games in Naraka. I still win. I know I'm bad at this game, so I don't know why I'm winning entire battle royales. But I think what happened, and somebody explained this to me. I've been off the game so long. I think every time, by the time I go back, the like skill-based matchmaking resets. So I'm always against people that like don't have the same muscle memory. And I just start wiping. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then I always have teammates that are like dramatically good as well. I don't know how they do it, but they get in there and they're just like boom, boom, pow, bah. And they do the thing. They do the thing. They do it with pride. I respect it. I respect all of it. Beautiful. But anywho, back to this point, because I need to make this point. Vinland Saga. Season 2, it just does so much right. I understand that people who love fighting are going to be upset with it. But it does so much right. So much right. So I do believe, you can see this on my top 5 anime video that I made like a year ago. My thoughts still agree with that video, by the way. Those are still my top 5 anime. But I will say that Vinland Saga, my honorable mention of Vinland Saga being number 1 as far as like, this might be the best anime objectively created. Yeah, I think my opinion on that has not changed. I used to say One Piece, and before One Piece, I think I said something else. I don't remember. I think what I said was Gurren Lagann. I think that's what it was before One Piece. But yeah, no, my opinion is still the same. Like, I taxed myself a couple years ago with watching all of the like super popular modern day shonen anime, and this might come as a surprise to you as somebody who is really invested in manga and really wants to be a mangaka and really is into anime and all these nerdy things, right? But surprise, surprise, I've actually not watched a lot of the classics. Like, a lot of things that people consider the classics I've not watched just because people hype them up way too much. But it's not that they're bad, I just never took like time to watch them. And I'm sure that's like weird to some of you, because like, what do you mean you didn't watch Cowboy Bebop? But listen, if I have to watch Cowboy Bebop to appreciate Space Dandy, then like, why do I need to do that? Like, Space Dandy should stand on its own feet, which I think it does excellent, by the way. But people are like, no, you gotta watch the old to appreciate the new, and I don't always think that's true. Like, sometimes it is, but not all the time. Like, if somebody enjoys current Ranma today, I think that's 100% fine. Like, it's a good anime. Hey, oh, what are some animes that I've seen recently? Oh, you missed it, Lumi. I was talking about Hero X, and I've made a new term for science that nobody should use, called hyper animation. But anyway, Hero X is this great show that it feels really episodic right now, but the animation quality and like just everything about it so far has been really cool. I rewatched Odd Taxi with a friend recently, and I still love Odd Taxi. It's all connected. It's all connected. It's so good. It's so good. If you know, you know. It's been harder for me to watch new stuff recently. I started watching the new season of Demon Slayer, and I started watching the new season of Dr. Stone. But I haven't really been keeping up with my anime. I feel like the only thing I've been keeping up with is One Piece right now, just because I really love the Egghead arc. Like, Egghead is starting to like shape up to probably be my favorite arc in the entire story. Like, I know people really love Wano and stuff, but man, it's so good. You have to watch the Netflix adaptation to truly appreciate this anime. Oh no, yeah, I gotta watch that Dragon Ball adaptation to appreciate Dragon Ball Z. It's just not real, guys. Like, I know people said the One Piece live action is pretty good. And honestly, I watched it a very long time ago, but the Ranma live action is also pretty good. I was quite satisfied with that. I thought it did a decent job, you know? But yeah, that's my take on these things. Like, now as far as manga goes, manga's a lot more vast than anime is, so I'm not gonna sit up here and try to say this is objectively the best manga on the planet. What I will say though, I know a lot of people think Berserk is the best manga. I don't actually know. You know, I didn't read Berserk because the darkest I've ever gone as far as dark fantasy is Akame ga Kill. However, Akame ga Kill is my favorite manga, so I just like that it does a really good job of the human condition stuff while also being really gritty. There are times though I feel like some things are done not in poor taste, I guess, but like, how are they going to air this? You know what I mean? Like, which is what happened, right? The anime director actually deviated from the story quite a bit, so I think the Akame ga Kill anime, after like the beginning, is kind of garbage because it's not that's not my show. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I read. But at the same time, when I see how dark some of the scenes get, I'm like, yeah, they kind of couldn't. They kind of couldn't animate this. Like, legally, I don't think you can. Do I like detective animes? I do, but I don't like the traditional detective animes where it's like, Detective Conan, gotcha. I don't really care for those too much. I like animes that kind of turn you into the detective, right? So like, when you watch Odd Taxi, you should watch it if you haven't. Odd Taxi does a fantastic job of taking you seriously as a viewer, and it says, hey, we're gonna move all these parts around, figure out what's going on. And it's really cool. It's really cool because they hit you with hints from episode 1, and you have to figure out what's happening. And if you don't, that's okay, because the whole point is it's a hint, it's not the fact, right? So the story's not bullying you for not realizing something, because that also sucks. When you watch a story and then you miss something, they explain something weird about the power system, and you missed it, and now you don't understand what's going on later. That's always annoying too. But no, Odd Taxi takes you very seriously as a viewer, and it's like, hey, we're just going to plant these different seeds here, here, and here. If you didn't see it, you didn't. If you do, great for you. You're going to understand what's coming next. Like, it's always really cool. Tomodachi Game might be fun if you like that. Yeah? I guess so. I should check it out. Because I do like it when stories do that. That's kind of what I like about The 100 and the Magicians too. There's like enough like things seeded in the dirt, and when they bloom, you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Or you're like, yep, I knew it. Granted, I think Odd Taxi does the audience a lot of favors in a way that some other shows don't, because it's a lot more, everything is like condensed in a way where everything is connected, so there's a lot less room for red herrings, right? Whereas like some other stories, there's a mystery here, like in Seven Deadly Sins, right? There's so many mysteries behind Meliodas that you don't really understand until the story starts trying to tell you. But this is also kind of a result of high fantasy stories, right? So it's like, because it's a high fantasy, I don't have like the mental capacity to understand if water does this when it interacts with magic, or if it does this because it's so high fantasy. When magic touches water, right, it might evaporate, or it might turn into a water bubble, or it might turn into a blast, or it might fly, or it might turn into an anime girl, God forbid, right? But like, that's the thing, it's too high fantasy of a story for mysteries to really, like, I can't really get the mystery, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, I have to be told. Whereas like stories that aren't super high fantasy, mysteries usually do pretty well in. They're usually a little bit better, or like easier to come by, right? Because it's like easier to explain. So I think Beastars, if you like Odd Taxi, Beastars is a great anime as well that does some mystery things, but it's also like a little bit of a shonen while commenting on the condition of people in the universe and how things work. So I really like that. Oh, you should definitely check out this anime called Apothecary Diaries. Someone was literally just telling me I need to check that out, and they want me to watch it with them because they want to watch it again. So, shocker, it's already on the list. I know. I used to not be so receptive to anime on my list because I had an opinion for a very long time that most opinions from other people is not good for me. Just because there's so much anime slop out there. If you know these, you know these. Queen's Blade, Redo of Healer, Sekon no Quasar. Like, these are shows that, like, would get recommended to me. And I'm like, Aiken, like, come the heck on. Who the heck is recommending Aiken? Like, these would get recommended to me, and these are, like, absolute slop. Absolute slop. I stopped taking recommendations from people. I'm like, nope, I don't trust anyone's taste. There was this one anime about a smartphone dude, like, he went to another world, but he could use his like no, absolutely not. Yes, as you saw from my introduction video, my topics, my opinions on anime can be very harsh. Absolutely, I do mean well, but some of these things do not need to exist. Like you have your stories that are good, you have your stories that are like decent, but some of these are just absolute slop, and that's the fact. Isekai slop, yes. Like, but then it makes me sad because even though isekai is oversaturated as a genre, to the point where like some contests in Japan had to start banning isekai as a genre to like compete for to get animes made, right? Like they had to start limiting it. Even though that's the thing, not only have a lot of like really funny like meme stuff come out, like Konosuba, Sleeping Princess, right? They all make fun of the isekai genre quite well. Even if I ignore like the joking things, right? There are some that are really good that people consider slop that I feel bad about. I'm like, okay, like ReZero is not slop. ReZero is like peak isekai. People think it's slop, right? And then you have stuff like Overlord, another peak isekai that people think is slop. Then you also have, well, actually, which one am I thinking of? Tanya, I'm not actually sure about Tanya. Tanya feels like slop, but I think it like tries to get me to take it seriously because it's doing like real Warzone fact things, right? So it's like it's deep rooted enough in real life, and it has like high fantasy elements put on top of it. So it feels like slop, but I don't really know where to rank Tanya, I'll be honest. You never heard people call ReZero slop? Oh my gosh, they do. They do. People are like, oh yeah, I only said this good thing about ReZero because you like it so much. I'm like, listen, I don't talk about anime that are bad. I don't. I just stopped doing it. I stopped doing it because what happens is you tell somebody Dragon Ball Z's trash and then they flip out on you. Or you have like a random guy when you're working at work or something, a random dude comes behind, like around the corner. You've never spoken to this guy in your entire life. And they're like, what the heck did you just say about Goku? And I'm like, oh, here we go again. Like, I don't talk bad about anime anymore because my opinions are apparently too hot for the iron to handle, and I don't want to melt the eggs. I just want to eat them, but I want to cook them. Okay, like I don't want the entire pan to melt because the stove is too hot. Okay, I mean slop is uninspired as in cash grab. Yeah, no, it's true. Disney needs to work on that. They do. Oh, did I go here with ads? But it's okay. I'm not saying like too many important things anyway. But yeah, it is unfortunate, but that is how it is. So instead of having hot takes, I say, you know what? I'll talk about things in a better way. I will just talk about good anime. Oh man, I know it sounds like I'm giving up, but I haven't. I genuinely haven't. Hang on, you're getting the ads. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5? What the heck is it doing with 5 ads? Are you for real? That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh, thank you for subbing, Nana. I appreciate you. I do. You didn't have to do that, though. But thank you. Oh my. I could have waited a few minutes, I promise. Like, you didn't have to do that. Oh my gosh. But you were still appreciated nonetheless. I'm sorry about the ads, Libby. I am. Shoot Hero was really good. I hope Shoot Hero didn't become slop because it lined up so many things perfectly. It did. I think Shoot Hero is one of the only like anime that started off like extremely traditional isekai, but did a really good job. Get cherished. No! I burn. What's the Jujutsu Kaisen pose where he's like, yeah! Oh, I'm dead. I can't. I love that song. The ending theme was really good. Right now I'm obsessed with the ending theme for One Piece Egghead though. Oh man. But yeah, no, it's like that. It's actually like that. And I'll say this, right? So instead of having my hot takes on anime now, I only talk about good anime so that I don't have to debate with people on why a story is bad. Because the thing about it is people want you to be able to defend your point, right? I'm not saying I can't defend my point. Thank you. Thank you for the head pats, Kayla. Superhero season 1 was okay. 2 was slop. I did stop watching in the middle of 2, so you might be right because 2 started boring me. So you might be right about that. But yeah. So I'll say, because I have takes like this. Let me give you one take. It's a little hot for some people, but I'll give you one take, and you'll understand why I don't comment on anime as much anymore. So here's the thing. This is gonna be like a very high level understanding situation for some of you, right? So you have Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer. Great show, right? We all love it. Very entertaining. Love Tanjiro. He's one of those main characters that are like, you know, modern day shonen characters actually care about people. This is like my main theory, right? The reason I say this, and I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart for all the old anime characters like, you know, Luffy, Ichigo, Naruto, right? The thing about these characters is they all have very intense goals that they care about. So for example, Luffy wants to be Pirate King above all else, right? Does he betray his morals for it? No, he doesn't because he's Luffy. But he 100% still wants that as a goal. Does make sense. Why on earth is Meta freaking out so much? Sorry, I'm like, Meta's losing its freaking mind and I have no idea why. But it's also Slime losing its mind. I'm back. They were showing some crazy ads for real? That's so sad. I'm sorry about that. I am. Not that it's my fault, but you know. I prefer people don't have like a bad experience. I'm just gonna default the camera real quick because it's being annoying right now. But anyway, so back to my point. Like all the main characters of like a lot of anime today, they're all very like humble and they all have a lot of empathy and they all really care about people. Like Itadori wants to help people, so he puts up with Sukuna as a result, right? Then you have stuff like what's his name? Yeah, Tanjiro cries. He cries for the demons he has to slay. That's so important. That's so important. Like that's such an important fact about him. Right? And then you have like other characters that want to do certain things, but they have to sacrifice something about them. So I feel like a lot of modern day shonen characters really care about people. Like they really care about the communities around them. And they want to help people quite a bit. Tanjiro, not Tundra. Yeah, Tanjiro wants to help his sister, but not just that. He wants to help people in general. Like, he wants to save the world from demons just as much as any other Hashira would, right? So I'm like, I think that's really important when it comes to like what makes modern day shonen characters so different. And it's not to say like Luffy and them are bad, but they all have a goal that they fight for at the end of the day, right? It's not as selfless as normal characters are now. And I like this normalization of people that are really humble and really deeply care about the people around them and how to save them. Because when we talk about like somebody like Luffy, like my early example, right? Luffy's not fighting for the individual person. He's fighting for freedom. It's different. He's fighting for the concept of freedom within someone else's heart, which is objectively different than Tanjiro fighting for you and feeling bad for the demon that they're slaying and feeling bad for themselves. And you could say, well, Tanjiro's a crybaby, who cares? I get that. I'm just saying, I think it's unique. I think it's different. I think that's a very cool thing, right? Now, when we talk about like how that's different, and we talk about why I say all this about Demon Slayer real quick, Demon Slayer is a very basic anime. If you've watched any show about slaying demons outside of Demon Slayer, they are all the same. The only fundamental difference is that Tanjiro as a person, his heart is different, and he has that empathetic level to him that makes him feel this level of empathy towards demons, right? Everything else about Demon Slayer, however, you've seen it. If you've seen any story about a dude with a sword or katana running through the night, killing monsters in a random Japan Edo period, yes, you have watched Demon Slayer 100 times over. That's just the truth. Now, does Demon Slayer have great music, great sound direction, great animation, an amazing main character? Yes. But at the end of the day, Demon Slayer is a mediocre story with an amazing art, direction, and animating team. That's the difference, right? Do I hate Demon Slayer? No. But do I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread? Absolutely not. It is a basic story in the same way I said Persona is a basic game, with insane art direction that took it from here to here, right? Because let's be honest, if Demon Slayer didn't have the animation that it did when it was going viral and everything, we would not know about Demon Slayer. This is just the truth. It would be niche. It would be niche. That's just how it is. Now, then you have something like One Piece, where I can't say this about the most recent seasons of One Piece, but early One Piece to like, let's say 2022, right? Toei gets so much money from animating Dragon Ball and One Piece that they got really sloppy and lazy over the years. They don't take their animation seriously at all up until recently. Like, why is it that only in 2025 the animation for One Piece finally decided it's time to put some budget back on the table? Like, you want to know why they did that? Because they know that the One Piece like remake is coming and Netflix is going to help fund it. So now they're scared and they want to protect the IP by putting more money into the animation. Finally, after how many years? One Piece is probably older than half of us already. And now they finally decided, you know what, let's put some money on that. Yes, they have good scenes here and there, but this is what I'm getting at. Demon Slayer is a mediocre anime that has an amazing animation team behind it. So it elevated past well, I said mediocre anime. Mediocre story is what I mean to say. It's a mediocre story that has an amazing animation team that elevates it to such a high level. And then you have something like One Piece, which is a amazing story that has mediocre animation. So it like, One Piece as a plot gets pulled down by the animation quality that Toei puts out. And that's really unfortunate. So, but if you had it to where, like right now, right? One Piece has an animation team that's comparable to Demon Slayer right now. So all you see all over the internet is people finally talking about One Piece all the time. That's because it finally converged on the same level. But these are the kind of takes that I can give. And people feel different about things. You know, they don't like my opinion. Zenitsu, I still love him, though. Actually, this story I think is really good. It's just not super complicated. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Demon Slayer it's not trying to reinvent the wheel either. It's very simple. That is true. That is true. Who cries more in anime, Tanjiro or Deku? I'll say this. I feel like both of them have reasons to cry, but if I was going to bully one of them, I'd bully Deku more. Deku's worked really hard to get where he is, but him breaking all his bones for a goal is self-inflicted 100%. Tanjiro, however, him feeling empathy for the people that he slays, I still think that's an extremely unique perspective, which is why I will always give Demon Slayer that. But the story of Demon Slayer, it's not doing anything super special. And I guess that, to Nanabe's point, right? It's just not complicated. And we're used to anime being like these 4D chess like plot lines that they're trying to make, and then sometimes it works. Sometimes you get Guilty Crown. Guilty Crown is absolutely awful, but the music was great and the animation was fire. So you wanted to love it. You wanted to love it. Yeah. A lot of people didn't like Zenitsu. I didn't hate him. But, okay, now I kind of need water real quick. I'm talking too much, no. Okay. There you get your water ASMR one last time. Oh, where'd the camera go? Okay, it's all the way over here. I grabbed the camera, but not really. Oh, I think that's a tracking problem. Is this like my first like on-stream tracking stuff? Probably. Yeah, that was wild. I can fix this now though. Boop. Okay. I'll be up close and personal now. Do you like that? Is this better? Anywho. Yeah, so this is like kind of how my takes are. So like, I won't say they're hot, I guess. I think my takes are just more in-depth than most people care for, because a lot of people... I used to run a manga club back in college, and what I've learned is a lot of people don't really care about like if they think something's good or bad. They don't want to compare power systems. Well, I think the power system in Jujutsu Kaisen is excellent, but the one in Bleach sucks. Like they don't want to do that. They don't want to do the Asta versus Naruto videos and stuff like that. No, they don't want any of that stuff. What people want is for somebody to walk in the room and say, hey, I love Naruto. Do you also love Naruto? That's cool. We love Naruto together. That's what people want. And my takes are too, like, intricate sometimes. Like, I say, yes, I love Naruto also, but then I also bully Naruto for the next 2 hours to explain why he doesn't actually work hard for things. But nobody wants to hear that. They just want to hear, you love this. You know what I mean? So I can't be mad at that. I can't be mad at that. Like, I objectively understand why people say that and why my takes are seen a certain way. But, you know what? It's fine. It's how it happens, you know? But okay, I appreciate all of you for being here for my first full body stream. I'll actually do something different next time. But I just kind of wanted to talk and hang out with you guys this time because, you know, it's kind of how I am. And today was one of those chill days, you know what I mean? But okay, so here's what we're going to do. I think if you hadn't subscribed already, or you had not, well, subscribe on Twitch is different. Follow, subscribe on the YouTube and all that stuff. I think that's cool. You know, it'll be nice to have you as part of the community if you aren't already. We're going to go ahead and raid Elder Star because I adore her and she deserves all the love and attention that we can give her. But other than that, you know, I appreciate you all for coming. Do I mind if you add me on VRChat? Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. Oh, okay. I almost got a little confused there. My face is like way too into it. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate you all and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. And there we go.
Like this, put your hands up, love the moment even from dusk. Yo, you always got my back, and of course I got your back. Don't you worry about that now. It's been a good day, good night. It's gonna be a good day, good night. Nothing comes between us, dancing like ballerinas under the moonlight all night long. How these plain and simple scenes get painted so vividly by you. I just wanna stay with you. Around the world is lonely dance, whenever our eyes meet. You know you leave me in a trance. It means everything to me looking down below. Things that used to bother me, cause your existence just lights me up. You always got my back, and of course I got your back. Don't you worry about that now. It's been a good day, good night. It's gonna be a good day, good night. Within the inner heart I plead for you to talk to me. I wanna hear all the good and bad, the stories you have. As I drift across the sky, the hour hand turns high. So good night. Let me sing a lullaby. I'll be singing, baby.